I want to call out the city, call out the province. That's the vision. What is it going to take to get there? Make the plan and do it. It's not that hard.
The one and only Stephen Hua.
It's an honor to be back. Success is just a one more try away. If you don't stop, I'm going to get there.
Yeah. It's like gambling, winners and quitters.
You see a lot of times, like the celebrities are always like, this ride, your dreams do come true. Most of the times they fucking don't. You know, I've lost money on the past two Together Again, the past two Frost, the past two Summer of Sound. And people are just like, they couldn't be losing money. You keep doing them.
Yeah.
I'm just crazy.
Can we talk about some of your losses?
I've never been that depressed. You know, when you lose that much money and you like, I bankrupted my family, I bankrupted like a couple of my friends, bankrupted myself. That pressure, that weighs on you heavily. Biggest loss we ever had. This festival could have been completely collapsed. It was a massive loss. Important when you're young, try as many things as possible. Fail often, fail small. And I'm lucky I've been able to get up a bunch of times, but I've fallen many times. And if I'd never tried them, I wouldn't know what I love to do.
Welcome back to Two Fries Podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg, where we document the rise and stardom of Winnipeg's talent and personalities. Thank you so much for the love that you've been giving us. It's getting bigger and bigger, and Arch, take it away.
Yeah, it's this is probably our most recurring guest.
It is.
And there's a massive reason why. Every time we sit down with this guy, I think it's something that we learn a lot, first of all, and he's been a huge supporter of our success. So the one and only Stephen Hua.
Woo! Let's go.
It's an honor to be back.
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah,
this is 3.
I love
This is
it.
3.
I love it.
This is 3. You're going back to back like Jordan did, 96, 97. Stephen, where are we right now?
We are in Commonwealth Kitchen Bar, 456 Main Street, new
Yeah.
spot.
So last time, I wasn't able to do your second episode. It was only Robin.
Yep.
But since then, I mean, lots has changed. Devo asked you before we started. He's like, how many businesses do you have
Yeah.
now? And you're like, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Where do we start? Well, first of all, we're in Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Right? So talk to me about how this started and where the idea flourished.
I tell you, look, they always start kind of funny actually. So my friend actually bought this building last winter, about 18 months ago in November. And he says, hey, I bought this building. Come open a club there. I'm like, hell no. Lose my number. I'm never opening another restaurant or club ever again, right?
Yeah.
He's like, come on. I'm like, you know what? How about this? I'll help you rent it out. So I go for a tour with my business partner, Nick, at the time.
Yeah.
And we're walking through. We're like, oh, this place is beautiful. It's great. Okay. I make a post on my social media. Who wants to open a nightclub or restaurant? I get like 8 people interested. I show it around. My friend's like, listen, just help me rent it out. I'm like, yeah, I'll help you rent it out. I get a commission. It's awesome. You know, I'm happy with that. I don't want to open it. So we're listening to it. We sit through. We're about to get a couple of offers, and a couple of the guys give me their concept, their ideas. I didn't love the ideas. You know what I mean? I didn't feel right putting that idea in this beautiful spot. So then Nick was like, we should do it. I'm like, you know what? I go, Nick, you should do it. You know what I mean? And we sat down. We're like, okay, fine. You know what? Let's do it. That's fine. We came up with a plan. Got the place open in like less than 6 months. Name, concept, design, renovation, everything. It's very quick. Yeah. And it's been just over a year now since we've been open, and it's been going amazing. Honestly, it's really cool to see. Like, it's always nice to see like when ideas and dreams come to life. You know what I mean? And when they're busy, it's nice to sit back and to see like people enjoying the experience that you created.
Why didn't you want to open another club?
My nightclub days are been winding down. This concept is meant to be more of a supper club and lounge, and you know, it's funny. I always in my mind, I always remembered the first podcast. I was like, Winnipeg needs it. You know, I always kept in my mind, and when I say it, I'm like, oh my god, and Winnipeg needs it. You know, and that is always famous last words. And the idea is like you could see club culture slowly slowing down big time. People want to be in lounges. People want to be in coffee shops. People want to be in restaurants. So then, how do you bring entertainment into these ideas, right? So that's kind of the new wave of entertainment that we're involved in right now, is creating new experiences that aren't in the clubs. So festivals was kind of the first one. Now it's going to be lounge life. My next thing we'll be launching with a friend. It's going to be a coffee party. So like these are all like new ideas that are happening all over the world that are gaining momentum. Supper clubs and DJs and lounges are very common in everywhere you go. You go to Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto. You go to a lounge on Wednesday, there's a DJ there. They don't think it's like, oh, this is something new and different. That's just a standard, right? For us, it's pretty different to have that in most lounges. You know, you don't see it. So we want to create that kind of, in the fall, we'll be running lounge DJs every night. Every night they were open. So you just come out, hang out. There's music. You can dance in your seat. You have drinks, food, whatever you want. So it's going to be just a new expectation we're trying to create.
So from your first episode, we talked about a lot of your businesses.
Yeah.
Some of them were restaurants.
Yeah.
And some of them didn't do well.
Yeah.
Were you hesitant to go into this business?
Yeah, big time. Restaurants are tough. I mean, I'll be honest. Every time I would talk to a lot of my restaurant owner friends, and they'd be like, "You're crazy. You're like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm on the right track doing other things right now." I was like, "Why do you want to get back into this?" Literally, these are my close friends. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to do it because they want to sway me to for any bad reason. They're looking out. They're being real. And I trust them. And not one was like, "That's an awesome idea. You're gonna do amazing." You know what I mean? Like they obviously trust that we're gonna do well, like marketing wise, but restaurant has so many moving parts. I'll be honest with you, it's been a battle here. And once we started, it was an amazing start, and we ran into a lot of hurdles, and I was reminded very quickly what the challenges are running a restaurant. When you're in a nightclub, you book entertainment, you promote. There's a lot. You have people pouring drinks, security, but the moving parts, they feel like a lot, but they're really not. Here, you need amazing servers. You need great hostesses, you need great management, kitchen staff's gotta be on point, then you're adding security element, then entertainment, then the bartender. There's so many layers, and honestly, with a restaurant, you cannot get away with having one of those areas being poor. Like, you can't have A+ everywhere else, and your hosts are like D level, right? Or everything is A+ and your kitchen is a C level. Right. Because it's gonna all translate. It makes everyone else's job harder, right? So, and I didn't really realize that until really with this one. And I've owned restaurants before, and I never really grasped it in that way. You know what I mean? So you're always learning, and you pay to learn. So it's been very fun. Don't get me wrong, it's actually been great, and we love this place. I'm very proud of it, and it's been a great experience so far.
This reminds me of a reel that I saw from Regan Tran. Actually, he was talking about when you go for a haircut, there's a service and an experience.
Yeah.
So the service is you're cutting the hair, but the experience is what the people feel.
Yeah.
Right. So here in the restaurant world, the service, okay, you're providing food, okay, you're providing drinks. How do you make the experience a Commonwealth experience?
Yeah, I think that for us, I'm a big guy based on sound and lighting and the mood. So I'm always big on dim lighting, candles lit everywhere, kind of setting that experience, music in the background is loud, the right temper, the right volume.
Yeah.
Those are things that I'm always looking for, and obviously then on top of that, it's good service, proper attentive service, knowledgeable servers, as long as they genuinely care. We're lucky right now. Our staff is amazing. I could feel they care about this place, and you can see it in their work. And our reviews are up, and it's everything in general. Everything's really working well. After 1 year, it's amazing to see. Like I said, we've had so many challenges that for it to all come together like this, it makes me very proud.
Yeah.
What was the challenge when you first opened?
We had some issues with a lot of different things. We're on our third head chef in 1 year, on our third general manager. I don't want to talk bad about anyone that was working beforehand, but definitely where we are now, we're in the best position. And most places, if you told them you'd be on your third manager, both ends of the room in 1 year, they'd probably be dead in the water.
Really?
Yeah.
So we're lucky because the staff's been amazing. Ownership's been committed to the plan. Obviously, marketing's been strong, and just loyal support system. I think that's where I've always felt I've been blessed with. People giving us that patience and kind of sticking with us. And now we're busier than ever, right? So it's awesome.
What did you look at? So you got other pitches for other things. What was it about those pitches that didn't really fit? And you were like, hey, I think I could do this better, and I'm going to do it my way.
It wasn't because it was multiple things, right? One is because we knew the landlord. That helps things a lot, right?
Yeah.
And because we had a concept in mind already, I've always wanted to open a lounge, but I didn't want to do it. There's nothing. I was never seeking to open a lounge. Of course, I know that club culture is slowing down. Of course, I know that the lounges are getting busier. But I wasn't, like I said, just because there's a need doesn't mean I want to do it. You know what I mean? But this one, because of the opportunity, the way everything worked out, that's how it came about. But like I said, it just it's a feeling, right? When you see someone's idea, you're like, this is not it. This is just not it. And I feel like I don't want them to waste their money. Maybe I'm wrong too.
Sure.
I could be totally wrong, right? Maybe the concept was genius and I'm just an idiot. You never know. But I didn't feel it was right fit, and I didn't think the owner would be happy with it, and it would be good. So I didn't think it was the right thing to kind of go with those plans. And I heard a few different proposals, but when Nick was kind of pushing forward, he had his idea and I had my idea. Like, this is it. And the owner loved it. So again, it all worked out well.
Yeah, we gotta give massive props to Nick as well.
Yeah,
because you know, sat down with him a couple times, and
Yep.
like anytime I've been here, he's in that suit,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
putting on a face.
Yeah, he was a fixture here. You know, he's like I said, he was committed to building this. You know, and that's what it takes, right? It takes a team committed to really seeing it through.
So when you have like partners like that, do you have certain like aspects of the business that you would bring and the things that Nick would do, or certain strengths that you would say you're more strength as and others?
Yeah, every business is different. Definitely, I would say every single business relationship, every partnership's different.
Yeah.
You know, I've had businesses where everyone's like, okay, you got to be the marketing guy, I'm the sales guy, I'm the bartending guy. Everyone's trying to do their little piece.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's one where it's like everyone's just an investor and they're not doing much, right? And that's okay. You're an investor.
Sure.
I've come to over my years now, I don't expect anything from partners to contribute in the way of like, if they can, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But you find it almost being like it could be a negative thing where it's like, well, hey, I kind of know SEO. Like I should do the SEO maybe. Like, well, you an SEO guy? Like, well, you're contributing. Then your partner doesn't do that. Well, you got to fire your partner. You know what I mean? Because reality is I'd rather hire an expert SEO guy to do SEO, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I fried some eggs this morning. Should I be the cook in the kitchen right now? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I mean, I could try, but I mean, let people do what they love and what they're good at. That's definitely my main like business like mindset now when I deal with any kind of partnership.
Cool.
If you're an expert in it, then you know we shouldn't have to hire you to do it. You know.
Yeah. You're running trial and error just to figure it out.
Yeah,
if it's your first time doing it.
Yeah,
like
it's already a lot of trial and error as it is. You know what I mean, it's hard to like. Yeah.
Why were you hesitant to open up a lounge?
Because I know the commitment it takes. You know what I mean? I two things that I wanted to get away from is anchoring myself to be in one place, like permanent, like forcing myself to be somewhere. Yeah. Which I am now. I'm done. Right. I love it. It's a love-hate relationship. At least I love it here. I love people. I just can't be here 5 days a week. You know, if you're not here, it's like, where are you? Come on. And I'm like, oh my, I can't drink 5 days a week. You know, I'm getting a little bit old here. But secondly, I'm really trying to stay away from brick and mortar and rent and overhead. What made me bankrupt the first time was all the overhead. You know, you have like 5 leases of 5 different nightclubs, a restaurant, and an office space, and then you fast forward 15 years later, I got a place that I'm renting. I got no office space. I've worked. My office space is whatever the next restaurant I want to sit and park at, right? And it's like it's amazing. You know, I don't have to worry about all these bills. But before it was stressful. You know, at one point I was carrying like I think $80,000 a month just in bills. And that's a lot of money over a lot of small businesses. You know, it's very stressful when you're behind.
Would you say there's a saying that we often say on this podcast, and it's if you chase too many rabbits, some get away. Would
you catch none? Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so was that probably the reason why, you know, chasing so many different clubs, you're young and your perspective changes now, right? And so
perspective changes and you realize doing more isn't always making more. One of the biggest lessons I've learned for sure over the years. And my parents, I'll give them a perfect example. They at one point had like 5 jewelry stores, more locations. That because all of us think, well, if you do more, you're going to make more, right?
More better,
But you realize you're spreading yourself thin and what you could really do, right? And I think they're now happier than ever and making just as much money off one store than they would ever had it with 5. Because how can you run 5 stores by yourself? You have to like learn to scale a business is very tricky, right? So for me, I was always like, okay, well, my workforce club's making money. No, well, how do you make more money? Open 3 more clubs, right? But then you realize you're cannibalizing your business, you're cannibalizing your time. You know what I mean? You cannot do them all at once. You know, it's very tricky.
Yeah. What are the trends that you see right now? Because you said club culture is dying. Like, why is that? Why do you think that's happening? Why are people going more to lounges? Why more going to other places?
This is a very popular question I get asked a lot, and my theory behind it is actually pretty different than most. I think that actually the root of why club culture is dying. There's many reasons. Dating apps are the obvious ones. Music, accessibility to music is different now. Back in the day when I was out, like new music, you have to go to the club to hear it. You don't just download it, you can hear it all. You'd have to go. But I believe that one of the biggest reasons people are not, it's one obviously a cost as well, or up as well, but is to skip the dishes and like food delivery. I think that half the battle of going out is just being out. Like, so if you're at a restaurant and you're eating, and especially with women, you get dressed up, you're drinking, you're having a good time. What do you want to do next? Let's go somewhere, right? Because you're out. You're picking the time to get ready and get dressed. You feel good, you want to go out somewhere. If you're having food at home, and someone says, hey, let's go out, like, oh no, like I'm like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not going out. Like I take the time to get ready, my hair, makeup, all these different things. If I'm comfortable at home, everybody's more comfortable at home now.
Yeah.
Add in COVID.
Of course.
It was already club culture was already dying as it was. You add COVID, it was just like, that was it. That was the end of it. You know, there's no way to recover. Now, when you're 18, 19, 20, you've been at home for 2-3 years, you're not even going to the club. That is not even in your mindset to even know to go. So you don't even care to go anymore. You know what I mean?
Would you say the age demographic has shifted as well? Like nowadays, a lot of the younger generations and even the older generation, they're valuing more human connection rather than, you know, the let's go party, let's go drink, blackout, like every Friday night.
Yeah.
They're valuing the more intimate connection.
100%,
right?
100%. Again, that's a big culture shift to health is big.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen so many sugar-free things in my life. It's just like, that's just like everything sugar-free, right? Low sugar. Like I love sugar, but now I'm drinking it though. I know, and if I'm someone like me who's like a sugar addict, is drinking all this low sugar, no sugar, then it's just, that's the trend, right? And health is now in, like health is wealth, right? I mean, people go to the gym more, all these different things. There's now wellness festivals, you know, like all these different things happening. So again, the culture, the mindset for sure. It's funny, the busier club nights I find are the older clubs. Older people, 25 plus, they're going out because they're used to it. That's what they want to do, right? But when you're 18, 19, 20, I find it's more like non-alcoholic stuff and also more social stuff that you're seeing people, and also festivals, you know, bigger experiences. So you'll, instead of going out twice a week, I was out 3 days a week when I was a kid, right? Now it's like I'll go out once every 2 months. I've got my ticket to Summer of Sound. I got my ticket to the next festival, whatever it's going to be. It's a Lakeside Live, you know what I mean? That's where I'm going to go, you know what I mean? And I don't have to go out every weekend to get drunk. And that's okay, you know, and that's our job as promoters to recognize the trends and kind of like, you know, see where it's going and kind of embrace it and run with it, right?
The crazy thing that I found yesterday, Hudson Bay is closing down. Hudson Bay, a 355-year-old company, is closing down because no one's coming into their stores. Everyone's just e-commerce traffic. And like, that opened my mind to like, this world is changing.
Oh yeah.
And like that, does that scare you almost, like in terms of like, there's certain businesses and types of business are always going to be there, right? Like you're always going to need certain things that you're going to do, but does that scare you in terms of like the world of the restaurants and like how that world is changing? You mentioned skip the dish, you mentioned that kind of thing. Is that something that is on your mind and you're like, how can we change that? And
I don't get scared by that at all.
Okay.
I actually love all these different things. I love the quick adjustments. For me, I'm the kind of guy that's on the fly. If something happens, I was selling masks, sanitizer, like selling freaking tests, the COVID test. I mean, whatever it takes, I'll adapt. You know what I mean? In terms of business, that's the key to survive for any business, right? So you got to know you got to see what's happening. And a lot of these businesses, you know, you use the Blockbuster Netflix example all the time, right? They just didn't see farther ahead. You know, you're doing so well, you're kind of like sitting on your throne, you're like, oh, you know, nothing can go wrong, right? But the guy beside you is pecking away at you, and all of a sudden he fucking topples you over, right? But again, I think I definitely feel like we've always been ahead of trends, or maybe sometimes even too far ahead of trends sometimes, right? So I'm always paying attention to what's happening, and I love all the changes, you know what I mean? To see all these things, so like I think it's cool to see, you know.
Nowadays, I think, you know, this idea, and especially due to social media, there's an aspect of entrepreneurship and being self-employed that has developed, and this culture of grind has flourished from that. And you know, there's good and there's cons to it. And for someone who's busted their ass and, you know, ran every single business they could, what are your thoughts on the grind culture? Like, is it worth sacrificing your time, your health, your mental status to achieve what quote unquote is success?
I think it's important to define what you consider successful ahead of time before you start this journey.
Right.
I think a lot of people, they want to work for something, and a lot of times they get there and they aren't even happy with it. And that's a tough thing to like, you know what I mean? To accept. You work so hard, you're like, hey, I've worked so hard to be an actor, to be a musician, to be an entrepreneur, and you get there like this, I never wanted this, you know what I mean?
Right.
So don't get caught up in something you don't even want to do. That's the first step, really, and that's hard. It's hard to really even know what you want, right? But we all get caught up in like what our parents want us to do or what our peers are doing, you know, and find it's hard to try to find what you really enjoy doing. It's difficult, and I think it's important when you're young, try as many things as possible. Fail often, fail small. You know what I mean? You're gonna fall from the lowest ledge you can. You know what I mean? Because we're all gonna jump. You know, at one point, but I'm jumping off cliffs. You know what I mean? And I've been falling, and
Right.
I'm lucky. I've been able to get up a bunch of times, but I've fallen many times. And but if I didn't have opened a clothing store or a restaurant, you know, festivals, and can't even remember everything I've sold and done. You know what I mean? But if I'd never tried them, I wouldn't know what I love to do. You know what I mean? And it always comes back to me. Always been out to be connecting people. Is like that's kind of like my passion, right? No matter what. And I knew back then that I didn't want to open a restaurant. I'm doing it now. I'm enjoying it. Would I do 5 more restaurants? Probably not. You know what I mean? That's just like this. I feel is something that is nice. It's really fun for us to do. The workload to do 3 more of these would be it's more than I could handle. It would take away from everything else that I would enjoy more. You know.
Right.
What was like 20-year-old Stephen like his mindset versus now's mindset? Like what, if you had to go back and sell something about before you got into this business world or even these pursuits, what would you tell yourself?
I don't regret many things, but my biggest regret was is not investing money earlier
Into
anything.
Okay.
Anything.
Sure.
I've always been in the mindset since literally till now. It's like, you want to make more money, work more. The idea, my parents aren't investors. You don't learn. I didn't have a mentor to be like, okay, Stephen, you know, if you take 10% of everything you make, good or bad, and you invest it, you don't think about it, I'd be a multi-millionaire right now. You know what I mean? If I did just 10%, 5%,
Sure.
but I put 0%. You know what I mean? Because I would always be like, well, why do I want to invest to make 5-10% a year when I can open another restaurant or another nightclub? I can just make this. I got it all figured out. You know what I mean? Like, why why would I do that, right? But if I had known that with all the ups and downs, and I put that 5%, I just posted something about Bitcoin last week. The funniest thing.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You want to share that story?
You're trying to open up that wound with me now.
You want to share that story?
So a buddy of mine in 2012 was like, hey, Stephen, have you heard of Bitcoin? I'm like, nope. He starts telling me on it. It starts to be paragraphs. And I'm not, if you know me, if you send me like 17 paragraphs, I'm just not going to
You're a voice memo guy.
Yeah, I'm a voice. Send me a voice note.
Yeah.
But if you send me like little bits, you got my attention. They keep following up. And that's my style when I converse with people. I never want to sound like a big copy paste because people don't want to read it. It's very spammy, right? So anyway, I thought it was just so spammy. And I kept reading it. And he sent me, he's like, please watch this video. I watched it. I'm like, well, I'm intrigued. This is like early Bitcoin. Imagine there's like a Bitcoin fair. They're buying this this is pre everything you see, you know? I was interested. I was like, you know what? This is kind of cool. I like doing different stuff. I like this. And at the time I was actually making money. This is 2012. So I was just about to open up a bunch of other clubs. Like this is like Green Room Opera, like a bunch of fame. Before I just dumped a lot of money into other businesses. So it wasn't like I wasn't like scared to put $1,000 into something. I was like, cool. I asked a few friends, funny enough, someone who's my very good friend, Jack, who's now pro Bitcoin. This is like crazy. He actually was one of the main reasons that swayed me away from it. It's like, this is never gonna happen, right? Yeah. And it made sense. Why would it happen? Anyways, but I don't mind gambling. You know, why not try, right? But the funny part of that story is this guy at the time, his message that I post said, if we can get every person in Winnipeg to buy 10 Bitcoin, we'd be the richest city in the world.
Yeah.
We'd be like Dubai and Canada here if we all had 10 Bitcoins. Maybe how crazy it would be. It'd be kind of cool if every person had it, right? But his vision was great. It was awesome. But his pitch wasn't that great. And I didn't recognize it. Now, people ask me all the time, did you invest? I did not. And 2, do you regret it? And I do not. Not 1%.
Yeah.
Not 1%.
There's no way to know,
Not even that, because that's not the one. That's not the regret.
Sure.
Because that's not the part of regret. Because I would regret.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it because 1, I don't have diamond hands to hang on for 13 years. You know what I mean? I would have sold it at it was $100. I would have sold at $300, and I would have been like running laps and been celebrating at that point already. So or even at 1,000, you're like, this is incredible. Because then it crashed back down from like 1,000 to like 200. It went up and down so much. I wouldn't have hung on this long. Or I would have lost, if you know me, I would have lost the computer, lost the passwords. I'd be the guy in the landfill digging through the dirt looking for my hard drive. To me, so I have 0 regret. Right. But I love the story and I love showing it because I like transparency, but also I like people to see, like, listen to people. You never know. You know, someone's gonna pitch you something. You never know what it could be. Hear it out. You know what I mean? Put some time to hear out people's ideas, and you never know what could be out there. You know. It's funny, and because I'm in the same position right now when I'm like pitching my app right now, right? So some people don't want to open the message, some people do, and that's okay. But you know what? Something you may regret the day you don't open the message, right? You know what I mean? So that's why I felt it was very like relatable.
When you're choosing, like now when people are pitching things to you, even then, like when someone's pitching to you, what makes you say yes to a pitch and what makes you say no to a pitch? Or even an idea or a thought? Like what's your thought process goes through? DM comes in, do you go through a logical thing or you're like, oh, this is great? Like what kind of
I try to reply to everybody because I I've gotten messages back in the day of people being like, I messaged Stephen Hua 6 years ago. He never replied back, or he was very rude. I'm like, well, people remember these things. You sometimes you don't think about the impact you'll have on someone. The little thing when you don't reply or you forget. And I feel bad. I get hundreds of messages a day.
Yeah.
It's hard to reply to everything. So I really try now. I really try to be sensitive to that, but it's like you're gonna miss something. You know what I mean? And the idea is like if people are pitching stuff, and I'm like, crazy enough, I'm very honest now. I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. You know, I'm sorry, this is not what I'm interested in. I'm sorry. So I'd rather tell them. I have a hard time giving people bad news. Very hard time. If you're chatting with me and you ask me something to say bad news, I'll just stop talking. I feel bad. Oh, I'm gonna say something bad right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of a personal thing. It's not like a mental block for me. So when people are pitching stuff to me, I need to force myself to be like, you know what, this is not for me. I think this is a great idea, or you know what, I don't think this idea really works. Have you thought about this? Give them some feedback, but I also can't be conversing with 200 people at the same time. It's difficult. You try to make much time, trying to be more present for my family, more present for my business. There's a lot of directions being pulled right now.
Yeah.
What was it that made you lock in, for lack of good words, but become so focused with your time, whereas you're younger, you can run 10, 12 businesses. But where was that switch? Where was it, like your kids being born? Was it getting
kids
married?
being born helps for sure, and then just like realizing how much of an impact your time is, how valuable it really is. As you get older, like that comes with age, with anything, right? So I mean, as you get older, and when I always say, like, there's a lot of time. Everyone says they're busy. I talk to some people like, I'm so busy. I've got these 2 meetings today, and I'm looking at the schedule. I'm like my schedule is like, but to them, that's busy. That's nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
My busy is like, well, I had time for 2 hours. I'm not busy enough.
Yeah.
I wasted 3 hours today. That's how my mindset is. The past week, I think I wake up at 4:35 a.m. every day without an alarm clock. My mind will not stop before Summer of Sound. My girlfriend, fiance, will tell me now. She's like, I love Summer of Sound, but I hate this time of year because I lose my boyfriend because I'm just so busy, right? She knows I'm up late till 2 a.m. Wake up 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm out. She's like, you're like, what are you doing right now? Go to bed. I'm like, but she's like very supportive, so it's great. But she'll know it's a very, very hectic time.
Mm-hmm. Has there been like relationships or like people that like have gone distance because of that? Like, because either you're going at a pace, you're running 100 miles an hour, and maybe they're just not there, right? And it's no bad on them, or it's just that the choice that they live. Like,
So funny enough, my one business regret is not investing. My one regret in life, the only thing that I've looked back on, is I wish I had more time for the people that I really cared about. That's probably like, when I look at all my close friends from the past, when I look at all my friends from like that I've made, so many people that I've connected with, like where I'm like, you know what, I really vibe with this person, and we have a great connection. I wish I could spend more time, but I don't have the time to be like, hey man, like, what are you up to? Let's go for a coffee next week. You'll never hear that from me. I just don't have the time. If you're not reaching out to me, I don't have the time to. I'm just focused on moving life forward right now for myself. So I think that's for sure. Like I wish I had more time to put into the people that I actually care and love. You know what I mean? It's very, very hard, and managing like personal relationships is very difficult. You know what I mean? With friends, with friendship, with family, with everybody, it is very hard to juggle everything for sure.
Is it worth it though?
I think it's worth it. I think that I'm lucky. If anyone that knows me knows that I don't need to talk to you every day for you to know that I love you. You know what I mean? I don't. It works both ways, and I think that I feel that when I don't see someone for a long time, the trust is still there, the respect is still there. People know that I'm trying to do something, positive. Big. I'm not. I'm trying to do some cool stuff, to innovate some stuff, like you said, or make some change in the city. So they're not holding it over my head. But so I do think that I do believe that it's worth it. Do I wish I could have more time? Definitely. The key is to where you make enough money where you don't have to be working as hard. That's it. There's a certain point, but we're not there yet, right? But we're on the way. I hope. You brought a question about how someone can get my time. I thought of a story actually.
Let's hear it.
I had a guy who came. I needed volunteers for an event, and he's like, yep, I'll come down. Me and my girlfriend, we're gonna come down and volunteer. They spent hours setting up my New Year's Eve event at Rec Room. Boom, did everything. Okay, cool. So hey, like at the end of the results, hey, so you got a free ticket for volunteering? He's like, I don't want a free ticket. I'm like, oh, really? Why? He's like, I just actually wanted to meet you.
Wow.
And I'm like, and to me, all the respect and love for that. What people don't realize is like I'm not trying to take from people, but if you can help add value and show that you care, I'll always make time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do it. But if you're trying to take, some people be like, hey man, can I take you for coffee? I want to for an hour. I'm like, I apologize, but my time is worth more than a coffee. Like if you want to pitch me, be like, hey man, I'm gonna take you to 529 for steak and wine. I would never even take it because I don't want to make someone spend that kind of money, but it shows a value proposition of what you want to do. Or how can you help me? How can I help you? How can we help each other? That should be the focus. So it actually was a really touching thing for him to do. And I gave him some advice and everything, but I didn't think I helped him enough. But I mean, I love the approach though. I mean, I respected it a lot, you know?
So is it more like, this is very interesting because I was listening to the podcast from Diary of a CEO.
Yep.
And he says when someone he gets like thousands of messages from editors and podcast producers a day. And he says, when someone sends me an email, they're like, here's 10 thumbnails I analyzed for you. Here are the analytics. This is why it doesn't work.
Yep.
This is what I've created, and here's why it will work. So adding that value is what gets his attention,
100%.
right? Value up front, then product, like
100%.
Reward later.
You're approaching someone because you want something from them.
Exactly.
This is not a
100%.
secret.
Yeah.
You're asking something.
Yeah.
You should at the same time be offering something.
Yeah.
Something. You know what I mean? And if it's only a one-way thing, no one wants that, right? So reality is that you have to get very lucky. I have to be in a very good mood. I have that opening that day and have time to be able to deal with it, right? But if the approach is like personal and it seems like they care and like I said, there's some value there, then of course you're going to listen to it more. It doesn't mean guarantee success, but it will help.
Right.
But persistency is also key, as you guys know.
Yeah.
You don't ask once.
We don't
I don't take no. You know what I mean? No. You tell me no is not no yet. You know what I mean? Like no, you be asking you tomorrow, maybe yes, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be persistent in anything in business, right? So anything you want, you got to go get it. You know.
100%.
This makes me think, why'd you say yes to us?
Selfishly,
I'm thinking like really, like when we started out, like Mans came to sit down with a 40-minute, like I don't know you now, but like you came to sit down with a 40 minutes, we had no idea who the fuck you were.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Like,
you guys didn't even know what I've been doing. That's like even more. That's
talk about regrets. I got one of those.
No, it was like, we had you on the podcast for the first time. You're like, yeah, I brought Drake to Winnipeg for the first time. I'm like, what?
No research, no nothing. We want to talk to this, bro. Why on earth?
We're like, scrap the questions.
Like, scrap the questions.
Scrap the questions.
What do you actually do?
Yeah, start all over.
Holy shit. Yeah, no.
And you know what? Like I said, I think you guys are very authentic, sincerely nice guys. You can see that. You know what I mean? Talking to you, right? So like that helps too. And then like, there's this different, like you get a feeling about people. You're like, you know what? Let's give this a shot. I'm glad I said yes. I mean, I don't regret it at all. That's awesome. I'm proud to be here for the third time.
Yeah. I mean, and then we built our relationship over time as well. You know, like going to events and like we try to help as much as we can. And again, it's a similar reason why we started the show as well. Like we want to showcase Winnipeg. Yeah, that's one of the reasons Winnipeg needs this. Yeah,
and, I agree.
They need more of it. And so if you're starting a podcast, please do. But that was a mindset. And then, you talk about regrets. I was like, I still think of like, we've talked about it a couple times too. Like, why did this man say yes to us? But again, now we're here.
Yeah,
right?
it's awesome.
So thank you for that. First of all,
and all the lessons that you've shared, honestly, we've implemented in our lives. And
cool.
Like when we think of a business idea or when we want to go invest in something, we're like, who's the guy? We're like, oh, Stephen.
Yeah.
Like, hit him up. Let's get him. Let's chat to him. Let's see what he thinks.
The amount of messages I've received from people about the podcast was also very overwhelming. It was awesome. People being like, man, like I love like this really resonated with me, or this I needed to hear this, or like it was actually meant a lot. So that's what makes me now like I feel like I have a duty to like be open and speak out about things that I've done. You know what I mean? If I can help it anyway. I've never wanted to like be preachy or like trying to teach people because like who am I? Like I at the end of the day I'm not a multi-billionaire, reality, but I've got some stories, I've got some experience. I can share that, and then like I say, like learn from my losses. And I'm not here to I can't teach you from all my wins because you know what I mean, but I can teach you from a lot of stuff that I've lost, and hopefully you don't have to make the same mistake. Funny enough, people often will do it anyway. A lot of people won't just hear it, but they will remember that they heard it after the fact. You know what I mean? But also it'll help them step back a little bit. Some will listen. Most will just be like, hey, well, we gotta learn it anyway. We all gotta learn the hard way. A lot of times,
touch the stove and realize how hard it is. Yeah. No, I mean, you mentioned some of the thing about this SEO. Like, if you're good at SEO, do that. Like, even when we started things, like, if I don't know something, my first thing is who do I know that knows something? Yeah. And we got the chance to sit down and like that was the reason, because I don't know what it takes to put on events. I don't know what it takes to do certain businesses, but I know some people who do. And if they're willing to give me the time and I can implement it, that I think is like, I'm going to figure it out by trial and error anyway. but I'd rather learn from somebody else's trial error. Am I always going to use it? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But again, that's a decision for the person to make.
Yeah.
That's a decision for me to make then and be like, oh, Stephen did tell me that.
Yeah.
Isn't it like smart people learn from their own mistakes? Geniuses learn from others' mistakes?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a crazy story of advice that you've given and the person has not implemented it, and then they come back a couple years later and they're like,
I'll say this. I don't want to can't name names, but there's been many times where I've been like, I don't think this is a good idea, right? And it's like, and they'll do it, and be like, you know what, you're right, you're right, and I don't want to be right. I'm just here to put the brakes on, give you some advice so you can look at things in a different lens. I've been through it. Every situation is different though. Because it didn't work for me, it could work for you. So that's why I always look. There's always the fine print. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you told me not to do it. I would have been a multi-millionaire. I don't know. Right? Like I said, I don't know it all. I'm just here to throw out what I've been through. That's all.
Of course.
So learning from your lesson, from the failed restaurants that you did when you were younger, what was the key lesson that you implemented for Commonwealth? What was the change?
Wow, this is so long ago. My first restaurant. First restaurant I opened, restaurant cafe, was called Sweet Escape. 1999, 2000.
Wow.
It was Winnipeg's first bubble tea place at the time. One of the first true cafe at the time.
You mentioned that. Yeah.
And I was a kid. I was so young, didn't know what I was really doing. I learned so much from it, but I didn't know what I was doing really. I think it was my way of learning, like just like throw into the fire, to see what happens, right? But it was busy, at one point, but at the same time, we didn't know marketing well at all. At that time, I was a very early rave promoter that was doing pretty well. So let's open a cafe and just kind of the same thing, see what happens, right? And right after that, a year after, I opened a restaurant called Rizzo, like a sushi spot on Corden. And I just I don't know anything back then of what I was doing. Looking back now, all the mistakes were very clear, you know what I mean? But again, I didn't have enough mentors to show me what was going on. And with this situation, I called my restaurant friends. I called them up. I had resources, right? Like you said, they helped me. And then all the mistakes that I've made with nightclubs, restaurants, lounges, kind of like are going through here, right? The timing was right, you know what I mean, with this place, that we feel that we could see the trends where it's going, or we didn't feel it's too early, right? So those are the mistakes that kind of learned. The timing, I think, was a big one for sure. And just also funding, financing, budgeting, management, stuff like that. We've learned so much from then. We're still learning, obviously, but I think it was such a different experience from 20 years ago till now.
At the highest level, are all the businesses the same? Like, is there a through line between certain businesses that you'd be like, oh, it's who you hire, oh, it's located, it's timing, it's marketing, or whatever that may be?
I mean, I think business is basically people and numbers, right? So at the end of the day, that's the core. You know what I mean? If you know people and numbers, a lot of people don't know numbers, but they know people. A lot of people know numbers, they don't know the opposite, right? So you'd be surprised. You need both people in a business, and if you don't have it, you got to hire it, right? So I'm terrible with numbers and accounting, so you have to have a good accountant. Because I've learned very quickly, you don't track your numbers, you owe a 6-figure tax bill, it sucks, you know what I mean? But at least you have someone working with you, they can organize that kind of stuff, it's not, so again, I think you need to know, again, from the beginning, know your strengths, know what you're good at, but recognize what you're not good at. It's hard to admit, like, you know what, I suck at this. I love saying this stuff. I love learning. I love failing now. I love admitting when I'm wrong. I'm just a different person than I was 25 years ago. I wouldn't say I was arrogant, but I was definitely way overconfident. Now it's like when I'm making mistakes and I'm falling, I'm smiling. I'm enjoying it. Okay, cool. This didn't work. What's next? What do we do now? You know what I mean? Now we know this doesn't work. We're one less mistake away from finding what works. You know what I mean? And like you can be excited about mistakes, then your life's gonna be amazing. You know what I mean? Like you're falling down, you're smiling. It's great.
I always like to say the difference between the master and the student is the master has failed more times than the student has never tried.
100%. And I've never been scared to fail, and I embrace it now. I was there back when I was younger, failing, it definitely was more intimidating because you don't know what's going to happen. But now you see, like, I failed so much that I'm like, I've gotten up, like, you know what, this is not going to kill me. Let's just keep going. I just want to have good people around me to pick me up and run with me. And I want to be that person for other people. Every time I see someone like struggling, how can I help you? How can I help my friends? I'm always going to be there for them to help them if I can,
Yeah, it was funny. A couple weeks ago, I had this experience and Robin shared this quote. And it was like one line. I don't even think he'll be like, oh, this was significant, but it was. And it was like, life's just doing its thing, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's going wrong, fucking worst week of my life.
Yeah.
I do remember.
And then he's like, you know what? you should look up and say, is that all you got?
Yeah,
Like,
I love it.
I've been
was
doing
like-
that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that
I was like-
recently.
No, I love it.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I'm like,
I love
dude,
it.
you should be like, help. Then he's like, oh man, look up and say, is that all you
Yeah,
got?
that's it.
I was like,
Wow, that's
Yeah,
sweet.
it's gonna take a lot more than this to keep me down.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
exactly. And
But if
it's
you have
like-
that mindset, nothing can stop you.
Yeah.
Honestly, right? Because I truly believe the success is just a one more try away. You know what I mean? It's one more attempt. It's one more step up. We don't know where it is gonna be, but if you don't stop, if you ever stop, well, I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
but is that the delusional optimist?
you have to be.
It's like gambling, winners and quitters.
Right?
Yeah, no,
like we can, like, I'm always like, okay, I'm not good at this, but I can be, right? And I can implement steps to get there.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, I never want to have for the podcast, it's like, okay, it's hard.
Yeah.
Lots going on with stuff. But I'm like, it's just one more episode that
Yeah.
could get us over the
Yeah.
threshold. It's like one more clip that goes viral and
Yeah.
gets us there, right?
And you see that though with,
Yeah.
with the Gary V's and all these different influencers.
Yeah.
A couple clips hit, and then all of a sudden they boom. It sparks them to the next level.
Yeah.
You just have to keep trying. Now, of course, I love that you said that. There's the delusion, and we touched on in the first podcast. Is like
Yes.
sometimes you're just not going to get there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but the thing is, I'd rather try and enjoy it. No matter what happens for me, if I
Yeah.
don't become a multi-millionaire, I'm okay with that because I had a hell of a time. I had a great ride. So
Yeah.
much fun. And I smiled the whole way through.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that and grind it out and then see where it goes. And if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. Wasn't meant for me. But you know what? Hell, that's okay. I'd rather that than not try. You know.
Yeah.
And you're right. You know, you see a lot of times like the celebrities are always like they're sitting on top. You know, I'm the example of you just tried. Your dreams do come true. Most of the time they fucking don't. You know,
Yeah.
that's just reality. You know, but the thing is like we need those success stories to motivate us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have to have that mindset. I do a lot of like startup like research and watching videos and everything, and there has to be a sense of delusion.
Yeah,
you,
of course,
you have to. How are you gonna? Your limits are based on your goals.
Mm-hmm.
If you can only dream to be this high, you're not gonna get here because you've already set that limit on yourself, right?
Right.
So there's a part of delusion with any entrepreneur, I find. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun mindset to have. So I'm in the sense of like the start of maybe when you started of like, you know, my first business, first couple employees, first kind of thing. And my mindset for at least this next year is I'm either going to be very rich or I'm going to be very broke.
Yeah. yeah.
I'm going to either do very well or
Yeah.
I'm going to lose it all.
Yeah.
There's no like, I'm just going to coast.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if that's a good mindset to have or a bad mindset, but I think it makes me make decisions in a different way.
Yeah.
Right. My frame of mind is there's only two options here. Now, is it going to get me here or is it going to get me
Yeah.
here? Which one is it's going to happen? You said that your mindset has changed completely, like, or different now compared to where, and you saying like, you know, there's going to be losses along the way.
Yeah.
I think the losses make a story that you can learn from.
Yeah.
And others can learn from.
Yeah.
Can we talk about some of your losses?
Yeah,
Or some
sure.
of some of the failures that
Happy
came
to.
along the way?
Happy to. Which
So-
ones you want to talk about?
We talk about the 2-day summer of sound.
2-day summer of sound. Yeah. So we came off of the crazy year. Post-COVID, everyone's
Yeah.
going
Wild.
crazy.
Alesso.
We book Alesso.
Yeah, wild.
Like Alesso and
Wild.
Jaws, like a craze, like insane lineup.
Wild.
Everything lines up. Awesome. We're super pumped. Sales are amazing. Made money. Everyone's happy. We're like, next year, 2 days. Let's go.
Yeah.
Double down. Let's go all the way. And we spend even more money for DJ Snake. We get Zed's Dead, 2 days. And we realize how hard it is to book these lineups to fill them out. It's very expensive, right? So the budget goes to over $1 million now. So we're in the big numbers now, you know.
Wow.
And the sales didn't translate. The hype wasn't there. It was still was great. You know, day one was still really busy. Day two was not as busy. The partners suffered the biggest loss we ever had. This festival could have been completely collapsed. It was a massive, massive loss.
Can you say how much? We'll bleep it if you don't want to play it. I just want to know.
Almost. Yeah.
Wow.
So Summer of Sound, people don't really understand this, and I wish they did. It's hard to make people understand. You know, Summer of Sound's now lost money 2 years in a row, whereas we've never lost money before. It's never made a pile of money, but it's always made just enough to kind of. It's a passion project, right?
Yeah.
Well, if your passion project's going to cost you 6 figures, you know, back to back, you're going to lose your passion very quickly, you know.
Yeah.
And we're one bad year away from never having Summer of Sound again. It could happen. You know, that's the reality. I think people see that I'm crazy enough that I'm always doing all these things that it's never going to go away. but it's possible. It's very, very possible, and it's almost happened many years, And because it keeps going, because there's a team of passionate people behind it that believe in it, that want to make it happen for the city. That's why it keeps going. It's not financially motivating, to do it. Especially now the risks are so high, costs are going up. I tell people all the time, the EDM scene is amazing. Everyone's gotten rich off of it except the promoters, the DJs, and then what's crazy is that the promoters are the ones that made it happen because they're the ones that booked the DJ to take the risk to make it happen. So the DJs don't come here to be like, hey, I'm DJ so-and-so, I'm famous, I'm gonna come and play for free, but I want half the door. They don't say that. They say, I need $100,000 or I'm not coming in a private jet.
Plus
so they can say that. So they get more and more money. The production companies make more money. The venues make more money. The agents, the managers, all have made more money. Record labels, everyone is rich. I talk to all the promoters across Canada. None of us are rich. You know what I mean?
You're talking to two.
Yeah, but I told you guys this. I told you guys this.
We should have called you before.
But here's the thing: it's like delusional optimism, right?
And that's the thing.
And you gotta try it.
You gotta try it. And then, like I said, I'm hopefully you didn't dump in $1 million. But the idea is, I don't know. That's not my business. But the idea is, like I said, your passion, you want to make it happen. That's the key. If we lost a little bit every year, we'd still keep going.
Yeah.
No problem. But because I've lost money on Together Again, the past two Together Agains, the past two Frost, the past two Summer of Sound,
Goddamn.
every single one lost money. Every single one. And people are just like, well, they couldn't be losing money. You keep doing them.
Yeah.
I'm just crazy. So it has nothing to do with being super profitable. It literally has not made any money. But because I have other jobs that make money, thank God, that it could sustain some of those things, and I've made some good sponsorship deals and made some things happen, and it's been good. But overall, this is a complete passion project. And I tell people all the time, like, if you love my parties now while I'm broke, you're gonna love them when I'm rich. It's gonna be a different level at that point. You know what I mean? So like, we're having a good time. Everyone's having a good time. It's great, But I love what I do more than ever. More than ever. I'm enjoying it more than ever. I find that it's because I'm not, 15 years ago, if a party lost money, there were times 15 years ago, I would eat sushi 5 days a week. And then after the event's done, I'm eating instant noodles for 3 months straight.
Oh, shit.
That was life. It would be like, whatever the event made, that's how I lived, right? But I didn't have kids back then, didn't have responsibilities,
right?
Didn't have overhead, didn't have a fiance, didn't have all these things, right? It didn't matter back then, because if it sucked, I'm like, it sucks for me. It's okay, what I mean? I'm okay with that,
Grind it out.
But back then, I also had bigger aspirations. I was more like superficial in terms of like materialistic with stuff, right? Now I've got 20 of these shirts, you know what I mean? I got 20 of 3 different black t-shirts, depending on my mood. One's a little longer than the other, one's a little shorter, depends how it is, right? But I'm just more simple in that way, right? So I don't worry about, back then I wanted a fancy car. I'm very happy with my modest car now. So there's different expectations. But where was I going with this? But yeah,
insane.
you know what I mean? Life's different, right? The priorities are all different now.
So why do you keep doing this, man? Like, I know you said why, but like...
No.
There's a reason why you...
The crazy thing is you're probably like, well, we're going to buy a festival because this guy's making money off all these festivals. That's
It looks appealing. It looks appealing.
But like I said, I love doing it, right? And I do see an end of the light of where we're going with this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So every time I'm like ready to quit doing shows, right?
Yeah.
Like I land Scream. We bring back Scream. It's my old rave Halloween brand. Yeah. Sells it out. It's amazing. It makes money. So you lose 7, you make 1. You're like, we're back on track, baby. Let's go. We're back. Let's go. Right?
Quitters and winners,
so you get a little taste, and you want to go back again, right? So Summer of Sound this year. Again, we lose 2 years. This year's looking amazing.
Yeah.
This year looks very, very good.
But
so
again, 2 days.
2 days.
Are you worried about
Sunday,
that?
Sunday, Monday.
Sunday, Monday. So here's the thing.
Monday's it's not a holiday.
Yeah, I know.
It's
very bold. I know. So Sunday, I like Sunday because no one works on Sunday. It ends at 11. People say like, oh, it's work the next day. You can still go to work the next day. If you don't go to work the next day, that's on you. You know what I mean? Like you can still go.
Yeah, you can party. You
want to party 5 to 11. You can go home at a reasonable time and then go to work. You know what I mean? Because the fact that you can't, that's something on you. That's not on me.
Yeah, it's a skill issue. That's
So like, but then the Monday has this problem because like, it's funny. People be like, oh, I'm not going because it's a Monday.
Yeah.
I work on Monday. Like, well, if it was on Friday, you fucking work on Friday. You know what I mean? But you don't complain. What do we say then? It's the same thing. So,
but
No, but
you
then they gotta go to
then you have
Tuesday.
Saturday and Sunday, like make
but
up
then
for.
you have the Canada Day is the day off the next day, right? So they still,
Oh, yeah,
still
okay,
the day
okay,
off
okay,
too.
okay,
You
that
know what I
works,
mean?
okay, yeah.
It's not on a random Monday. But Summer Sound used to be on a random Wednesday before.
Yeah.
Twice back to back was on a
Yeah.
random Wednesday. Just because I want to try it out. I mean, that's where we got the DJ seasons. Now we're next year. I've already pre-booked the venue for Canada Day again, June 30, July 1.
Yeah.
So it won't be on a Sunday. Now maybe I do Sunday with a break then Tuesday. You know what I mean? Maybe I do something because we're in a market that's very tricky to work with. We have to get creative and do different stuff, right? So we don't see how it works.
So
this year we're on a good track.
That's
though.
crazy.
What was the reason that Summer of Sound 2-day event didn't work the first time? I know we touched on it a little bit, but what was, other than the investments and paying too much and the budget constraint,
Yeah.
why didn't you think it sold tickets?
And like headliners are fire.
Yeah,
Like,
you know, there's a lot of factors. That year was our most expensive year. We spent the most we ever spent. Tickets were the most expensive. They were $119 for one day.
Yeah.
So that's the most expensive we ever charged. Maybe people just kind of blew all their money post-COVID. And everyone kind of went a little bit, quieted down. Pockets were hurting a little bit. You never know, right? And I felt like maybe we tried to be too much to everybody. That's why this year I really wanted to focus this year and have like one day really focus on bass, one really focus on house, and we'll see like people can just pick the one they want to go to or go to both. Luckily for us, actually most people are buying both days. It's pretty cool. So we feel this is a different strategy. Hopefully it works. Ticket prices are much more lower than before. We're also doing something very unique this year. We're giving away about 500 tickets to graduating students, high school grads. We ran a campaign in 2017 where the one school would win tickets for their entire graduating class.
Smart.
Yeah. So all the 18-year-olds were entering the contest, trying to win for their school. This year we didn't run a big contest. We're just going to pick 3-4 schools.
Cool.
So 500-600 students will get them for free for graduating, right? Yeah. we're also having a very, very aggressive marketing campaign in North Dakota right now, where you can go to get tickets for free. So we're really trying to like boost tourism. We're really appealing to the city, the province, everybody this year for funding to help us out because we need it, and we feel that people do love the product, and we are really want to show the numbers to be high and show that there's a lot of tourism coming through. So we're really marketing heavy with discounted tickets from out of town. So if you're driving in from Alberta, Saskatchewan, from North Dakota, we have a bunch of discounted tickets, but it's a big, very aggressive marketing campaign. So you're going to see a lot of people from out of town this year. So it's going to be very different. Yeah.
Wow.
So they tend to, like, I tell you right now, this will be the busiest Summer of Sound ever by far, and on both days. So you're going to see like 6,000-7,000 plus on each day. That's what you're going to see.
That's insane, man. What about logistically? So like, I would assume, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, from doing this like, 10 years, that every year there's like, a sort of a routine, right?
Yeah.
You build out a team, you work with the same pyrotechnic guys, or you work with a certain group, you have your roles, people have their roles, they kind of work it out. And then logistically, every year, new headliners, certain challenges come up, but having the same venue, having a similar vibe, you approve of certain things.
It's not vodka.
Sparkling water.
Sparkling water. Sponsored by San Felice. Sparkling water.
Let's go. Go to check.
Thank you, sir.
You're saying logistics, yeah?
Yeah, logistics. You're figuring it out, and you kind of have a routine. You've done this before.
Yeah.
You know what works, what kind of doesn't. You change a little things here. With the 2-day, was it a logistical nightmare or no?
No, I mean the 2 days is where it has to go. I mean, if anyone that throws events knows, like your fixed costs or your setup costs, your production, our two biggest expenses by far are entertainment and production.
Yeah.
But entertainment doesn't get cheaper on the second day. It just gets more expensive. But your production gets cheaper because it's already set up.
Yeah.
So, right? So you could negotiate a better price. So let's say, for example, a production costs $150,000 for one day. You could say, well, I'll pay you $200,000 for 2 days. Now your average cost per day is $100,000 per day. It's gone down dramatically, right? So you want to do that, and your venue setup. When I set up my venue, is now set up for the 1 day. Now the costs are split in two now, right? Same amount of work, no extra work, and then marketing dollars. Whether I put a 2-day poster or a 1-day poster, they add the same. So my marketing spot expended now split in half as well. So there's big advantages for going the second day if it works. So like I said, we're going all in this year to see what happens, and I'm very, very confident it's going to be amazing.
What's the opposite side if it doesn't work?
If it doesn't work, then we just like I said, we stand up and say that's all you got and keep working, right? That's it. That's what are you going to do? I mean, like I think right now, we're on pace that even if sales completely halt, the loss would be small. Wouldn't be a death blow. But I think that this is the year is important because we've touched 2 distinct days. Like if you love bass music, dubstep, and anything in that genre, you have to support that day. If you want to see more of that music, people don't realize is like people are so headliner focused. Like I don't know who that is, or I'm looking for this DJ only. Where's Calvin Harris? Where's Tiesto? Where's Skrillex? I'm actually going to release a video next year. Here is who's not coming to Summer of Sound. I'll make a whole list of everybody. Don't ask for these people because it ain't happening.
And then you put the price next to it.
No, but so because you have to manage in this business, you have to manage expectations in any business.
100%.
Managing expectations and relationships is so important, right? And if I tell you ahead of time, Fred again, Skrillex, John Summit is not coming. You don't have to hope that his name's gonna pop up. You know what I mean? Because there's realistic expectations of what's gonna happen and what can't happen. Now, having said that, did I think I was gonna get Fisher for Halloween? No. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so things can happen, right? Things can happen. We get lucky, but for the most part,
Doesn't happen.
it's not gonna happen. Now,
And
so
why is that? Why won't Calvin Harris? Why won't these guys come here? Is
a
money?
couple things: money, venue size, and because when you're at the size of like, if you're the Taylor Swift of EDM, why didn't Taylor Swift come here, right? For example, it's more cost effective to do fucking 17 shows in Toronto, right, and not set it up, and everyone will fly there because you have the drawing power, right?
Yeah.
So these big names, once you're big enough that people will fly to see you, like a Fred again, like a John Summit, a Dom Dollar, they no longer want to be flying everywhere. Traveling is very tiresome for artists, right? And that's the key. If their drawing power is big enough to draw you to fly there, then they'll never play the small markets. Very, very rare. Unless they feel like really like they want to give back. Diplo did something cool a couple years back. He's like, I want to play every single city. I want to play every state in America this year. So he played every single freaking state. He played North Dakota, the smallest venue. I'm like, holy shit! That's like, but he took a hit in money. It wasn't about money. I've got enough money. I want to play every state. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a cool thing that he did, right? So, but I know who we can attain and who we can't. You know what I mean? And for us, we've always been about booking who's kind of like upcoming more than the solidified star. But then when we booked the Lesso, it kind of changed the you guys booked the Lesso. Now we expect DJ Snake. We want Martin Garrix. We want Tiesto. Like now we kind of open up that can of worms, right? So we don't want to have that expectation. But the idea is this: if you love house music, you have Side Piece, you have Joel Corey, you have Twin Sick. You may not love them, but if you want to see another house DJ, you're gonna support it because the next year that could be who you want, right? And people don't realize, well, I'll come next year. When you book the DJ, I'll come next year. There may not be a next year.
That's great.
There may not be a next year. You decide that you're like, you know what? Let's say everyone's like, well, you know what? I want to wait to see this DJ only. This is all I want to see. I love house music, but I don't want this guy. Oh, I love bass music, but I don't like that DJ. You don't get these other guys until you support these ones. You know what I mean? You gotta support it, and it's tough because I know money is tight for people. It's tough. But if you love Summer of Sound, you love EDM in Winnipeg, what other event is there to support first at Summer of Sound? Because we've been around the longest. We know that even though we lost money, we're still going to be here for you guys, right? A lot of festivals are come and gone from out of town. They see Summer of Sound doing well, come from Toronto, they do an event, they lose money, they never come back again. Now imagine if that year everyone supported that other guy and not Summer of Sound, and Summer of Sound collapses. That guy leaves, he doesn't come back, Summer of Sound's gone, what happens then, right? So I'm not trying to play on like saying like, oh, this is a support, please support us because that's what it is. But this is just logic. You know what I mean? At the end of the day is we're committed. We're a team of Winnipeg people, love Winnipeg, love EDM, want to build a community here. We're committed. We have roots. We're not going anywhere. That to me should be the people that we'd hope that you want to support. You know what I mean? But then the big corporation comes in from Toronto, from Montreal, New York. They're like, oh, Winnipeg, there's a busy festival. Let's do one too. And then they knock us out. And then they're like, we're bored of Winnipeg. Let's leave. They don't care. They have no roots here, right? It's not the person that you should want to support, But it's hard. People see, I want to see this DJ. That's what they see first, right? They don't see the promoter, right? So that's why I'm trying to be more personal. You know what I mean?
Has that happened? Like corporations coming out and like trying to
Many
tap
times.
into one of our market?
Every single year.
Yeah.
If Summer of Sound existed after year 1 or year 2, every year a guy from Toronto or a guy from another province came in and tried to do the festival. Every single year.
And then why doesn't it work?
Every single year they lost money. Every single one time they lost money.
They're not as crazy.
Every single time. But they didn't come back, right? See? Not as crazy as I am, clearly, right? But it's funny, right? They lost money, they didn't even try a second time.
Yeah.
They didn't even try.
I like the word you just said because I've said this. I see some parallels in the podcast world. You're like, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And like I've said that to so many, like internally so many times. Like yeah, this pod's gonna be here for a while. Like, you're gonna watch now or you're gonna watch later. It's fine. Like, or like, but again, similar to the thing, we've seen podcasts come and go as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna ask why, but I don't have a personal reason why either. But like that mindset of we are your this is one-stop shop for us.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to be the best as we can. And as I summer the sound again, we're gonna be the best as we can, the best experience, the best DJs, everything that we want. That you gotta support us.
Yeah. And the thing is, you know what? If they don't support, the next year Summer of Sound becomes all local DJs.
Yeah.
That's not Summer of Sound. That's how it evolves. I'm just DJing for 7 hours on 3 stages, eventually save money, just me only, right? If that's what it has to become to survive, maybe that has to be. We don't know, right? And we'll adapt, you know what I mean? But the people will vote with their dollars, and if they don't want to support big headliners, there won't be big headliners. And if they want to keep supporting it, then we keep doing more and more. People bet say all the time, like, why don't we do a show at the arena? I talk to the arena all the time to do a show. I would love to do it. But they can't support, there's not enough support here. How can we do a show in the arena, right? Yeah, it's a matter of just numbers.
Yeah.
So what's the logistics of hosting a show in an arena?
It's definitely that's probably one of the last things to scratch off my list as a promoter is to work with Kevin at the arena, and I want to make it happen. It has to be the right act. It has to be the right. It's funny enough, I've discussed with him at the arena many times years past, but the culture now is different. If you go to a show now, you buy a ticket, people don't mind being in a seat now. It's a concert.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
15, 20 years ago, it was like, I'm not going to buy a seat. Like, what do you mean? Never. I would never do it. But all these shows now, everywhere, Fred again, Millennium, John Summit, they have seats.
Yeah.
Tons of the seats. You would get into the bowl, the floor, or you wait in a seat. People have no problem. They buy a seat, and they sit in their seat, and they just dance. It's no problem.
Yeah.
The culture's changed, right? Because back then, you want to dance, everyone's dancing, they're moving around. Now it's like more like just jumping and waving your arms around and sitting in one spot. It's a little bit easier. Yeah, exactly.
The same dance move every time.
Yeah. So it's different now, right? 15 years ago, it wasn't like that. You needed room to dance.
I call it the promoter dance.
That's it, yeah. So it's going to happen. I would say before I retire, I keep saying that, but I'm never going to retire. But like I definitely would foresee an arena show sometime. Yeah.
I mean, we got our taste of a little arena show from Jelly Roll's show.
Yep.
Like,
It's amazing.
fantastic production,
Yeah, it's amazing.
fantastic thing as well. And like that was an eye opener too of like, like you can do a performance. You can set up a stage, you can do a performance. But again, going back to that experience, it rained, it snowed, it was fire. Things that you go a little bit above beyond. People remember the small things, and that's the thing that I remember. I'm like, too. Yeah. Like, I'm not a huge Jelly Roll fan. But like, it rained, it snowed, it was fire.
It was memorable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You leave it a fan. That's the idea, right? They recreate an experience.
What do you think about like in terms of the trend of EDM music as a whole?
It's blowing up even more.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy to see. I think that it's more popular than ever. And it's also because it's crossed over so much. Like it's like there's so much like there's country EDM, there's rock EDM, there's hip hop EDM now. It's not like it was before, and now it's much more wider base for sure. It's reaching a lot more people.
And then, how does it feel to DJ your first set?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually always talking about it yesterday.
You're going on after Two Friends, correct?
Yeah. Funny enough. I'm playing the side stage, the Together Again stage on Sunday.
Okay.
But I'll be playing house music. But yeah, no, funny people are like, oh, you never DJ for the people that knew me, they're like, you never DJ Summer Sound, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The people that know me recently, they're like, you DJ? Like, what the hell is going on here, right? So I was a DJ probably 16, 18 years ago.
Okay.
Actually 19, 20 years ago, actually. I DJ'd an after hours called AM After Hours every Friday and Saturday at 5 a.m.
Did you have a DJ name?
You want to know what it is? It's actually funny. It was a joke name. My joke, my friends would call me Sketchmaster Hua. I don't know why and whatever, but anyway, it was just a funny-ass name. But anyway, I'm not gonna put that on the flyer. But
okay.
I don't have a name right now.
No, please.
But I feel like it's one of those things I wanted to do before I got too old to do it or tired to do it. I'm like, you know what, I want to play. So I'm super excited. Like I'm just getting chills even thinking about it. I know it's gonna be an amazing experience. I know it.
Is that something you gotta like prepare for? Like,
oh yeah, I do. Because I don't do it. Because I don't do it often. So
are you putting in work? Like,
yeah.
Are you getting some nights in here? Like
yeah, we got set up. I got set up at homecoming soon for the next little bit. I got to practice a lot, so I don't want to embarrass myself. I haven't DJed for a long time. I DJed at the Avicii party at EEC, and it was amazing. Probably one of the most fun nights of my entire life. It was awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're going from a promoter to where the real money is.
Yeah,
right?
now I get the real
He's
money.
such
That's
a-
it. Now that's who's getting paid. I see where the money's going. I gotta be a DJ now.
We gotta book you.
Yeah.
We're gonna book him.
That's insane, man. Like again, we've been fortunate to be at some of the summer sounds and the whole production. And I think what amazes me every time is just looking out at a sea of people, just having a blast.
Yeah.
Just having a blast. And again, I'm gonna be honest, like EDM is not my go-to music style. But again, just seeing a crowd of people just jumping around, I think there's like something electric about that.
It's addicting, man. I'm telling you. Like, you once you see that crowd and everyone's so happy. Like, how do you you want to keep doing it, right? That's that's definitely the high you get as a promoter.
Stephen, what do you want to be remembered for when you retire? What do you want to be known for? Like,
you know what? In terms of work, for me in life in general, I want to be remembered as a guy that made a positive impact on as many people as possible. That's my life goal. I want people to be like, you know what, I'm better off. My life has been better off knowing than having met Stephen. That would be like, that's the goal. How many people can you touch and influence in a positive way? But I want to do this on a larger scale. So I want to create a platform and do more if I can. That's the goal, for sure. Business-wise in Winnipeg, I would hope to think that, man, like 50 years from now, people be like, man, did you look back? This guy was a part of so many of our memories, of our good times. And when friends talk about their most fun nights, their best birthdays, where they met, where they fell in love, all those experiences, I want them to look back, and if I could be a part of that, that's my story, right? That's the best part. I hear it all the time, like, man, I met my girl here at this club, or I got engaged there. I met my friends here. My 19th birthday was the best one. My 50th birthday here was the best one. Like, if we can be a part of that in some way, then that's what better feeling is there, you know?
Yeah, for the longest time, I mean, a lot of promoters didn't put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was just like, oh, here's Summer Sound. It's Summer Sound. It's a company. It's a thing. And then we're slowly seeing the shift of people are connecting with people.
Yes.
What was the conscious effort of putting yourself out there? And you know, like this is, again, it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
people will dissect you.
Yeah.
People will take ideas from you. People will dissect this the conversation that we're having. And
for sure. It's tough. It's tough. You know, like you guys are probably used to it now, but I'm sure you get some nerves still a little bit when you're doing it, right? So for me, I was like, I've always been like, I want to be like the voice that's heard, not the face that's seen. That's always been like, I said that a long time. I always used to say that when I was younger. Yeah. And I never want to be in front of a camera or people to see me. You know what I mean? And now I feel like I have to embrace it a little bit and just kind of like, that's what they're doing now, you know? And you look at all these podcasts and these TikTokers and everything, you have to try. You got to fail. You got to suck. Yeah. You got to do it, but you're going to get better at it. The best part is like, this is the shittiest you're ever going to be at it.
It only gets better.
It only gets better. So you got to put yourself out there and try, right? And I got to take my own advice, and you know what? I'm going to try. So this year I'll be very, very, very active on social media, making videos, making content, like full time, heavy stuff. So I want people to be a part of this whole journey where we're going, and with the app launch, I want to tell that story from the beginning. I've never been able to talk about Summer Sound from the start, right? Because we're running, which I will. But they'll be a part of the story. But now at least I can start with the app and tell the story all the way from the beginning. You know, that's kind of the idea, right?
Well, let's start with chapter 1.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your
That's
app.
it. Yeah. The app is called Hostly. It's basically a culmination of everything I've ever done in life, all into one project. And it's like, no matter what I've done, it's always brought me back to connecting people. So it's been my passion. It's definitely my calling. It's what I enjoy to do. What I enjoy doing. And so basically, the way it works is, you know, social networking now is very like awkward and it's very cold. You know, if I have 10 mutual friends with you on LinkedIn or you have Snapchat, we add each other. Oh, I add you as a friend. I've seen you around. That's the end of it. I can't just be like, hey, I just added you on Instagram. Want to go for lunch? It's awkward. Right. You need icebreakers, right?
You got to slide in, yeah.
Yeah. Or when you have like dating apps, you match with someone. That's only half the battle. Not even like you get there, like you match it, and it's like in your DMs, like guys will be like, I got 8 matches. Hey. Then you got to start chatting with each one of them.
No game.
Where do you want to go? Yeah, you got to have some game. It's hard, right? What do you want to do? You know, and the challenges on those apps, people complain is like, women will have complained to me about dating apps. The guys don't make any effort. You match, it's like, hey, what do you want to do? Want to come over? That's my line. But it's the people don't want to be like, they don't want to date. They want to put themselves out there. Yeah. And a lot of the complaints also is very few people can stand out on dating apps and even on networking apps. How do you stand out? We're just a face on there. We can't really stand out in any way, right? So with the app that we created, it connects people through predetermined experiences. So for example, I was on Tinder for like a very short brief time. I did terrible.
No game.
No game. No way to stand out. No game. And but if I could have been like, hey, who wants to come backstage somewhere sound with me?
Hey,
you got
Right
game.
now I got a little more game, right? So if someone says I got backstage passes and transportation to Lakeside Live, it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe you don't match 100% to what I know, but at least this is the door that opens the door. Like, that's the key, right? Everyone needs an opportunity.
Sure,
when you watch the movie Hitch, like the idea is like you just need a chance. I believe that people can fall in love very easily. The hardest part is meeting them.
Yeah.
It's harder to meet someone than it is to fall in love with them. You know what I mean? Because when you meet someone, you're hanging out with them, you form bonds. But it's hard, that first experience is the hardest one. Wow. So that's what Hostly will do, is it helps you get that first experience. So by creating and curating predetermined events, for example, if one of my girlfriends, like, I love rollerblading. If I said, listen, Stephen, I'm gonna go rollerblading 3 p.m. at Assiniboine Park. Who wants to come with me? I create the event. Girls can go on the app, they see all these different events. They'll see a Lakeside Live, they'll see dinner at Commonwealth, they'll see rollerblading. But I like rollerblading, the girl likes it. Now this guy is instantly more attractive because he's doing an activity that I love, right? So I'm gonna apply to join his event. Then now the host of it can see all the girls applying to join. He can pick and converse with each one, which one to go with. So everyone is like their own little version of the Bachelor or Bachelorette, right? So if you're a girl, for example, I met a girl at the Jets game last year. She was with a guy, like a random guy for the playoff game. She had playoff tickets. She took some random person with her. Imagine if she went on the app and said, I have playoff tickets for the Jets game. Who wants to come? 10,000 guys would apply to join.
Yeah,
right?
but okay, so now my counteract to that would be like, are people, rather than, we live in a society of where people want to take, right?
Yep.
So rather than actually finding a genuine connection where you actually want to get to know this person, what if it's like, yo, I'll never get a chance to go to backstage at Summer of Sound. Fuck, Steven has a free ticket, I'm going to take it.
It's your job to weed it through. This is the thing with anything. Like you said earlier, it's a value proposition.
Right.
Right? The end of the day is, I want to be able to meet my match if I'm on an app, for example. I want to make friends. Let's say, for example, you're using that example of like the Jets game, for example. But let's say, for example, I'm a woman. Let's say I've got kids. I just moved to Winnipeg from Saskatchewan. I moved to Bridgewater. I love wine. I love football. I create an experience on there. I'm going to be at Boston Pizza, watching football and having wine. The bills will be split. Who wants to come join me? Other women will see with their kids. They can apply to join the event. They can see it. They can connect. I can chat with you, and I can connect with people that are like-minded, right? So it doesn't have to be like me saying, I have a Jets game. Who wants to come with me? It could also be like, if I said, I want to go to a Jets game. Who wants to go? I'll split the bill. I can create the event. This is what I want to do. People can still apply to join. It's not always about me having to pay for someone to go. It could be anything. It could be a girl who's bored being like, you know what, I'm craving sushi. Me and my girlfriend are going to want sushi for lunch at Thursday at 2 p.m., 1 p.m. Who wants to take us? Guest pays. They put that in the app. So then the guys could be like, and how many guys are going to be like, I'm down there, let's go. I'm down to hang out with someone. I was going to have lunch by myself anyway. Right? So it opens a lot of doors because it breaks the ice of the hardest part is just making the plans, right?
Interesting.
And then you still see the people what they look like, right? So there's all these different ways that you can connect with people now, you know? And there's, of course, there's other ways, like a buddy of mine says, one time I was in Vancouver, I booked a yacht. And we're like, man, we're going to get so many girls. We got this yacht, there's 10 of us. No girls.
No girls.
Because when you book the yacht, nobody knows you got this yacht. So what are you going to do? Go to the restaurant and be like, yo, we got a yacht. Who wants to come with us? Who wants to come with us? We got a yacht. No one's going to come sign up for your yacht because you're looking desperate, right? But if there was an app where you said, listen, 10 guys looking for 20 girls, all expenses paid, yacht, who wants to go? Yacht will be full.
Yeah,
it definitely would. It would be full.
Yeah,
it would be full.
So we have hundreds of use cases for this app, and it launches next month. We're super excited.
Hey, I'm watching Lilo and Stitch on my couch tonight.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, but that's the idea. I'm telling you though, it can be as grand as the trip around the world. It can be as simple as watching TV at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I was going to watch it anyway.
But because you manage expectations, you say, listen, who wants to join me? Popcorn and pizza is on me. Whatever, or it's on you. I don't know. I'm not going to pay for it. You know what I mean? You can decide, you set the parameters, you set the rules, right? And you set the expectations. So people don't have to wonder. A lot of women like talk to I don't mind paying for the bill, but sometimes the guys message nonstop, and I assume they were gonna pay it. It's just awkward, you know what I mean? And even when the check comes, I wish we knew ahead of time, we agreed to split the bill. I'm okay with that. It's weird to be like, no, I'm gonna offer, you're gonna offer. But with the app, we say exactly where it's gonna be, who, what, where, when, who's paying.
Right.
right? So everything's there, it's transparent.
How'd you come up with this idea? Like, what made you?
There was a couple different ideas. Funny, my friend told me.
Let's hear the other.
My friend told me like, Stephen, I applied on TikTok to go on a cruise with this guy. Okay. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, this guy on TikTok, he has a cruise, all expenses paid, and if you apply, his best friend and his wife will pick the person that goes on the cruise with them. Okay. So it's a blind thing. It's not blind, but you apply, they talk, and then you can fly down. So in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, girls are willing to do that. That's nuts. That's an interesting idea, right? And then there was other apps out there where you could find people to go to your bottle service, but I don't like bottle service ideas because it's very like 1%, you know what I mean? I want ideas for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of couldn't, when this idea, I couldn't stop thinking about it. When I started hearing those two different ideas, it just evolved into Hostly now, what it is now. And now I just feel like it's for everybody. Everybody can download the app on their phone, whether it's like Uber and Airbnb. Everyone can have it. It's not like for me, if I have Tinder on my phone, it's like, why do you have Tinder on your phone? This is like, everyone can have it. If you want to go for dating, friendship, networking, it's all available there.
Interesting.
When you have these ideas, like, what's step one? Like, what do you do? Do you call someone? Do you make a logo? Do you get the Instagram? Like, what is step one of?
My step one when I have an idea is I just put it into a bunch of my group chats and see what people think.
Okay.
That's my first thing.
Okay.
With all of us, we trust our friends, we want our feedback from our friends. I'm lucky that all my friends are entrepreneurs. Like, they got businesses, so it's a very good circle of business owners I can bounce ideas off. And when there's a little bit of, all I need is a little bit of traction. And your friend should be true enough to tell you like, this is stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know what? That's okay. I still think it's smart.
Sure.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But if they start saying like, this is great, then you might have something, right? So from there, you just gotta keep evolving, and it's been a lot of work. It's pretty crazy. If this idea came from November till now, it's almost ready. We've been working around the clock on this. It's been a lot of work, but yeah, it's very exciting.
Wow.
Yeah, the tech space, especially like in Winnipeg, there's a couple tech startups in Winnipeg. Actually, some that did very well. Skip Dishes, for example.
For sure. Skip started, I think, in Saskatchewan. They launched here.
Neo Financial as well. Like, the tech space for sure is growing in Winnipeg for sure. I know a couple other ones. Construction Clock's another one out there. And it's a different world, right?
It is.
It's because now everything's digital. There's, just like you said, when you got this place, there's certain things that you got to worry about. There's certain, like, the aesthetic, head chef, managers. In the tech world, your app goes down, it goes down.
Yeah, tech is even crazier though, because like UX, like user interface, all the design, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
All these things that we take for granted, when we use apps on our phone, everything is easy to use because they're all good programs, right? Because they do well. We're using Uber, the Airbnbs, and these are all billion-dollar apps. So we expect them to all operate like that.
Right.
So when you open a shitty app, right, where you're like, this is not like everything else I use, you can tank your product very quickly.
What is your step after? So step one was, okay, let's pitch it to my friends, let's see what happens. How do you take the idea and execute and start the execution process?
So immediately you just find you did the exact same thing here. So basically you just find the people in your circle that know about it. Mm-hmm. I went through my phone, went through my Instagram. Who do I know that's in the space? I messaged all of them. I asked them for a quick call. I want to bug them. Hey, I got this idea. Do you have time? Let me know. Can I take you for lunch? Can I take you for dinner? Some value, right? Offer something nice. Well, I literally came out of the gate like, I'll take you to 529, take you to Earl's, because I want them to be there. My friends will help regardless, but I want to make sure I'm here to value their time, Mm-hmm. And I had 5-6 really good meetings, and just to absorb. I love learning. I watched every single tech startup movie I could get my hands on, every single TV series I could watch, every single most popular podcast like the Y Combinator, stuff like that. So I was absorbed. I had a speaker in the shower. My girl thought I was crazy. Like you don't need to listen to podcasts like all day. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, no, I want to keep learning this because I feel like the time is short to execute. Right? I want to learn as much as I can, and I want to keep hearing it over and over. Here in the car, read it at home, in the shower, dreaming about it. I want to be absorbed in it, right?
Yeah.
And I really immersed myself in the tech space, and I learned as much as I could, and from as many people as I could, right? So I like I said, I hit them up. Every meeting was like, I felt was like a nice new eye opener, And from there, they directed me some things to do, helped narrow my search of like where to hire someone, what to do, what not to do, obviously, right? Eventually partnered with my CTO. He came on board. We working together amazing, and he's been such a key part of building this, because he's like the organized guy, the work guy that knows the tech and everything, and I'm like the marketing guy, the concept and everything. So it's been a great partnership, and you need that. You know what I mean? You need to have that.
So, is step 3 then getting funding, or can you do this without funding?
You always need
Dev
money.
team
You
is
always
cheap.
need money. The dev is not cheap. So we got a bunch of quotes. This quote to get this app done is around 100 to 200,000 in Canada. So we outsource some people in Canada, but also some people out overseas. So it's a combination of everything all over the place right now, right? So definitely a worldwide project.
Great.
Yeah.
And like, what made you think, okay, I'm actually going to go all in on this?
I'm all in. I'm actually all in on this.
Oh,
So I will, if this takes off, I would probably I might just sell everything. Maybe there's no summer sound, because summer sound's now in Egypt. So that's where I'm gonna be. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But I do have to commit to it, and the reason why is because after reading all these podcast things and reading about founders, it's one thing to get investments from family and friends that believe in you, but even then they want you committed to the project. One of my investors was like, Stephen, what assurance do I have that if I invest, next 3 months from now, you don't have another app you're gonna open up, or another bar? Like, you know what? I promise you this is it, because there's nothing else can be bigger than this idea. This idea can be scaled to the entire world. Every city in the world can have Hostly in it. That you can, meeting people through events is scalable fully to the world. Every city can do this. So why would I don't need anything else. So I'm fully committed.
So is it now a full circle moment where you're combining your experiences from promoting, from event hosting, and now you're putting it into this one funnel where you're like,
that's right.
This is my canon.
This is why I know this is the end game for me. Now, not my last project ever, but this is the culmination of everything, because I'm now calling my contacts in Halifax and Ottawa and Edmonton and Calgary. How do we expand in Brandon? All these people that I know, all the celebrities I've worked with, I'm also calling people that they're calling the favors from them. All the restaurants I've worked with, they're going to be on the app. All the people that I know, they're going to be helping with the app. All the people that have been supporting with the parties, they're going to be supporting the app. It's all together. I've always, my whole life has been like, okay, Steven, you've got, 17,000 friends on Facebook and 18,000 on Instagram. What does that get you? A lot of nothing. You know what I mean? Really, it's like meeting people, but you don't get paid from this stuff. I'm not a content creator, right? So. And I'm, in my mind, I have to go into politics. What else is there to do? What else is there to do? If promoting doesn't make money, what else am I going to do? I got to go politics. I don't
run for president?
Oh man, yeah. No, I don't think. No, again, I love this. No, yeah, but that's not going to happen. I'm happy to support the politicians. I don't want to be that face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were just chatting about the app.
Yep.
And how you're going all into the app. Does that ever scare you?
Yeah, all in is wild.
Well, for me, because I've always been doing 6, 7, 8 business projects at once, and I've barely been sleeping, in a good way. My mind is just nonstop going, and when I'm sad, I sleep a lot. When I'm depressed, when I'm excited about life, I just can't sleep at all. So I would the past few days, I sleep 2-3 hours. And I just want to keep working. I'm excited. I'm just loving it. So everything right now is just so promising, and everything looks so good. Like Summer of Sound and the app and things with family and friends. Everything. There's Commonwealth. Everything's just going nice, and it's just finally nice to see things working out. You know what I mean? Because it was a very rough time. We were talking about the losses. We kind of lost track on that, right?
Yeah.
That's episode 4. But and I feel like after those really really rough decade, and it's nice to feel like I'm coming back.
What was your mindset like going through those decade of losses?
Yeah, I know. I've never been that depressed. When you lose that much money and I bankrupted my family, I bankrupted a couple of my friends, bankrupted myself. That pressure, that weighs on you heavily, heavily, heavily. Losing your own money is one thing. Losing other people's money is a whole different thing. And your family, you see the struggles and everything. It's something that I never want to go through again. Hopefully not. Hopefully I don't have to go through that again. But it taught me so much. When you're down that low, and it took a long time. It took me over a year. I actually stopped smiling and making jokes. I make jokes all the time. I'm actually a very not serious person at all, if you guys could tell. But for that year, I couldn't even make a joke. There was no sarcasm left in me to be sarcastic. There was no jokes left. And I remember even cracking a couple jokes, and I'm like, oh, I'm slowly coming back. This is kind of a weird feeling. I forgot how it was. But it just sucked the life out of me. It was a very, very tough time, and And even to this day, people wouldn't believe like, money's tight. It's tight to this day, but it's all from those losses, those heavy losses from those couple of years. For sure.
About the Rec Room?
Opera and Rec Room. Those two
Yeah.
businesses for sure. And then Opera, Rec Room, and then I also had another project that I just paid rent for like a year, wasted 50, 60 grand on that. So all the losses added up. It was really tough.
But you learned a lot.
I learned a ton.
You learned a lot.
Learned a ton. And like I said, I think that I could have learned for a lot cheaper, you know what I mean? For sure. And the ideas were ambitious. It's people don't realize with Rec Room, like it was like an arcade bar before there were arcade bars, you know what I mean? We had a ping pong lounge. I went to Toronto, saw an idea there, put our own spin on it. And I think that idea would still work to this day. If you open it right now, it would do well. But we were just underfunded. The contractor ripped us off. That was a huge thing. And if I ever become rich, one of my things is I want to find a way to people that can protect themselves from contractors. There must be a way that you can like vet the process and have a way to, because people get screwed up by contractors all the time. Right. There's a lot of good ones. I'm not saying they're all shitty, but people getting screwed by contractors is just too much. Like it's hard enough to make business work as it is without someone screwing you over. You know what I mean? And that guy royally screwed me and my family over, So from there, we couldn't recover from the loss. We had to hire a new contractor who we ended up screwing over, So it's just like a snowball effect of like all these different things, right? So, I find that you learn all these things of what not to do. And if I could, anytime someone ever opens up a restaurant or lounge, they tell me certain things, I'm like, don't do that. Don't do this. One of the biggest mistakes we made was we demolished all the washrooms to get more capacity. Cost us another 100 grand. The reality is like, open up as it is, save the 100 grand, be busy, then expand, right? So I'm getting ahead of myself to do something that's not there yet. So I had a buddy that walked into his restaurant last month. He showed me a space. He's like, yeah, so we're gonna demolish this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna make it bigger, but more capacity. I'm like, whoa. By demolishing the washroom, we have new code, new problems, new expenses. You don't even know if your concept works.
Yeah.
Right? But I wish someone had told me that, you know what I mean? But again, because I'm the event guy, I knew the events, I needed capacity for my events, right? But if I just didn't do that, then maybe we wouldn't have to deal with the contractor so much. He couldn't have screwed us over for that much. My risk would have been down by like 150 grand. So that's substantial. When you're doing like a $500,000 rental, 150 more, it's great, right? So just little things like that you learn along the way. And these are things that I want to teach people, like expose, like here's the project that I did, recap it. Here's the mistakes. If you're ever doing a project, don't do this, do this. If you want, and then people can pull it up. Oh, I'm opening a restaurant, I'm opening a club. Like I'll watch this video. Maybe it's helpful, right?
Yeah. I think that concept of like really testing, getting that proof of concept is so valuable.
Yeah.
I listened to this podcast from, I think it was the Netflix CEO, where when they got this idea of Netflix, they wanted a proof of concept to see if someone would pay a membership to actually rent a digital piece of content, right? And back then, Blockbusters was going out of business, and they're in this. The way they tested it was they got a CD and they put it into a mail, and I believe they just shipped it to their own address, and then it came back the same day. And it was like, okay, you can pay someone to ship, and from there they evolved the idea to go on a digital platform and so on. And this is where Netflix arose from. So, what was that proof of concept for Commonwealth?
I think just if you look at what's happening in the city in terms of like certain lounges, you see what's kind of missing, right? You see everyone, the lounges are busy, but they all kind of died off around 1. There's no entertainment, and just from traveling, right? So I think that I always get inspiration from leaving the city. I think everyone needs to leave the city to open up their eyes. If everyone traveled, no one would complain about prices at Summer Sound or Commonwealth anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's a funny thing.
It's true.
If you travel to another festival, you'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You appreciate it in a whole new way when you get back home. So I encourage it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, oh my God, I went to this festival in Toronto, it cost me $100 an Uber ride. And the festival tickets were like $300-400. And the food cost this much. The drinks were $14. And you come back home, you're like, hey, $10 isn't so bad. You know what I mean? It's not so bad.
It's not bad.
But if you never leave Winnipeg, you're like, $10 is insane. It's crazy. These guys are robbing us. Why are they doing this? We're not making any money.
Right.
And it's like, we're just charging the bare minimum. We really are. It'd be different if I was driving around in a Rolls Royce. They're like, then say something. I mean, you can, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like that. We have to charge as much as we possibly can. You know what I mean?
Right.
Without people, while people still can support it, right? And I think everything we charge is very, very reasonable.
What's your framework of like innovation and creativity? Because that's one thing I got to credit you on, especially with Commonwealth and the certain things that you guys have done, whether that's working with influencers online, whether that's the Nightlife thing, whether it's like certain shot things that we talked about earlier. Like, how do you go about coming up with those ideas? Is it just you? Do you get in a room and you're like, okay, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to do this? Like, how do you go about that creativity aspect?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I just love learning. When I was in nightclub mode, when we were opening this lounge, me and Nick went to Toronto. We hit 19 bars in 2.5 days.
Wow.
Okay. So we're like, boom, next one, boom, drink, cocktail, experience, get the menu, boom, next one, shot, next one, boom, all the way through. Every venue, taking notes, cool. What did we notice? Every place, dim lighting, candles, music. So we could see what was working. I always say like, learn from the best. Like it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
You go to Vegas, they have people, experts for like table height, texture for this table, the glass you're using. You know what I mean? The air you're breathing. Someone has put thought in behind the seat that you're sitting on.
Right.
We don't think about those things. But if you go to Vegas, you don't have to think about it because someone's already done it. Right?
Yeah.
So if you study it enough, you're paying attention, if you put your ego aside and be like, well, I love these kind of chairs. You know what I mean? Because that's how we are, right? Well, I don't like candles. I don't like the way the smell is.
Yeah.
Fuck what you like. You didn't open this place for you. You know what I mean? You got to listen to what everyone else likes. You're opening a business for everybody else, right?
Exactly.
And you need to put your ego aside and what your wants are. It is fun to open something that you will enjoy, obviously. But the idea is, if you can't afford the experts, go to where the experts have already been. So we go to Toronto, we go to Montreal, we go to Vegas. We see what's out there, what's working, what concepts are there. Now here's the thing: what works in Vegas is not going to work here, right? But you still learn a hell of a lot of stuff. You go to Toronto, you're going to learn a lot of stuff, right? I'm sure when you're looking at podcasts, you're like, well, what other podcasts have worked well? Like you're going to do your research, right? And it's fun to do that research. Look at it, well, this and that. I think a lot of times we get ahead of ourselves, and it's like, well, I want to start cooking. I'm about to buy the best knives in the whole market. You can bet the best pots, best this, best that. And then you start, you're like, I don't really like cooking, right? Because that stuff's not going to make you a better cook. It's better later on when you know what you're doing. Like you said, when you have all this gear, when you first start, you want to invest in good stuff, but you don't want to just spend all of it until you know what's going to work. That's the idea, right? So what I've learned now is definitely like making it work with what you can, but proving concept and then running with it. You know, like definitely that's important, I think, with business.
100%. And it's like, you never know until you actually do
100%.
it, right?
100%.
Like we would have never had this big of a team
Yeah.
or this many equipment if we didn't know we could pass 7 episodes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%, 100%.
And so it's like opening up a restaurant is 10 times more. I'm interested. You mentioned like the philosophy behind the chairs. What's the philosophy behind selecting the chair that you're sitting on for this restaurant?
This chair was already here when I took over the restaurant. I mean, I picked it because it was free.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So end of the day is like, some of the stuff was here, some of the stuff wasn't. We built the benches there. Some of these benches were here already. These chairs were already here. We have other chairs that we want that we feel that would be better, which
Right.
we'll upgrade. We'll probably upgrade in the fall, winter, right?
Right.
So when we pick these things, here's the thing. End of the day, cost is a major
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
budget is a big factor in what we do, right?
Right.
I know what I want and what things I would do, you know. But being resourceful, definitely one of my biggest strengths. And I think learning to be resourceful for anyone, entrepreneurs, is very important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you want to, and that can be with people, with money, with like learning, anything. You have to be resourceful. You know, using time properly. It's very important.
What's a strategic thing that you guys implemented and you like thought about, but like the average person wouldn't know? Like when they walk in here, like you mentioned the air, you mentioned certain things that like somebody thought about this.
Yeah.
Somebody specifically thought about having a painting, so having dim light, whatever. But to the average person, they're like, oh, it's just a painting. What's something that you guys did here?
Like we were talking beforehand, and I asked you for your business hours, and I think you were like, 5 till later at night.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, they're not open, but they're only open for the rest
Yeah.
of the week. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then you mentioned you go to these different clubs or these lounges, and they get challenged with that 12 o'clock where they're like, they don't have any entertainment.
Yeah.
And it thing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
why.
we want to capitalize. We spent the first year restaurant focused, very intentional. Everything we posted was about our restaurant, about our food bloggers. We got ranked top 5 new restaurants with Chow Magazine. I think it was, I went to the wrong magazine, but it's one of the magazines, right? I think it was Chow Magazine. And we wanted to establish and be known for food. Year 2, we want to be known for nightlife. It's very intentional. Because if I came out of the gate, me and Nick promoting nightlife and food, people wouldn't hear about the food because we're already nightlife guys. So if we start saying, come DJ parties, this and that, people you wouldn't forget about the food, right? But now we feel our food program is very, very good, and we're very established. We're known for food now. We're busy. We're packed for reservations on the weekends. Packed. You can't get in here. So now it's time to add on the nightlife element. That's what for next year. It's going to be a whole new marketing campaign. We roll out DJs every night, 9 till close every day. Wow. Yeah. So again, for me, in terms of what's intentional here, I think for me it's always been mood and lighting and seating. What we do. That's the main thing for sure. It's the mood. I want, when we did Republic 15 years ago, people walked in, they're like, oh wow, it feels like Toronto. What does that mean exactly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Winnipeg clubs back then were very bright, neon, bright lights, this and that. Republic was soft, was carpeted, like drapes were like a velvet drapes, and everything was soft, candles everywhere. So you walked in, you didn't feel familiar. It felt like, but if you walk, funny enough, when you say it felt like Toronto, because that's the inspo we got it from, right? Same like here, you walk in, it's dark, it's moody. That's what I like all the rooms to be. I'm not a big like special effects lighting guy when it comes to my rooms. I like to have like the rooms very intimate. That's good. That's the atmosphere we're trying to create.
And that provides the best atmosphere, I feel like, for especially looking at restaurants. And I think the reason why there's a whole trend of, having those close relationships is using that dim lighting, setting that dark mood. People want to talk. They're more vulnerable, right? That's why.
And also like even music volume, right? You want it to be loud enough that you can hear music, but not too loud that I can't talk to you, but loud enough that I can't hear the table beside me. You know what I mean? So there's a certain science behind it for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
When we had a chat, you talked about optics, and like you said, the main thing that you focus on is what does it look like? Yeah. Is it packed? Is it blah, blah, blah? Is there a reason why you did certain things? Yeah. Can you break down that kind of side?
I'll give you some of the logic that people wouldn't really see that we do. Yeah. So when we went 441, there used to be an open dance floor. And then in the beginning of the night, I would grab all the tables that they were in the club and put them on the dance floor. And the manager would be like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I want everyone to sit at these tables so that when people walk in, it looks full. And when it's full, I'm going to pull these tables out so there's more room after. He's like, well, that's a lot of work. And me and him, funny enough, we didn't get along back then. Now I love the guy. He works here. Okay. I consider him a very good friend. Sure. And we don't see eye to eye and everything, but we respect each other so much. And I love that we understand each other, how we think now, how each other work. You know what I mean? Right. And the logic now, I think he totally gets it now. So when you walk into a room, if there's 20 people in a room, it may look dead. If everyone sat on the edges here, you walk into Commonwealth, it'd be dead. But if I made everyone sit at the bar top, it would look full. Right. Automatically, humans don't want to walk into an empty room. They want to be around other people. So when you walk in, you see 20 people. There could be 30 people here or 5 people here. The 5 people here is what keeping them to stay. Right. It's optics, right? So when you walk in the dance floor, there's 30 people in the club, and I learned this actually for one of my venues. When I had Prohibition, and I had another room called Tails. There was 75 people in Prohibition, but it was only half full. There was 40 people in Tails, and people were like, "Oh, come to Tails. It's bumping here. It's busy here," because it would look busier, smaller room, right? So I have a big, I'm always looking at ways to change the optics of an event, of a room. That's the key to making it busy. That's the secret of a good promoter, is how to manage the room and how to manage the crowd. When you walk in, how do you make them stay a little bit longer? Because when I walk in here, if it's not busy, I'm gonna leave at the next spot, right? But if I feel that it's busy, I'll stay longer. That's the idea, right? And same thing with festivals, same thing with nightclubs, same thing with restaurants. They're all the same ideas apply.
How do you do that to an app now?
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, right? You got to remember, when you open up hosting for the first time, I will make sure that there's 200 different events that you're going to see on there right away, no matter what it takes. There will be. Because I don't want you to open the app and you only see 2 events, you won't come back. If you open up Airbnb and there was only 1 condo available, would you open it again? No. But they made sure that when you open it, there's variety, there's a range to keep you there, right? So I will make sure, I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it, but I will make sure, I promise you this, you open that app in any city, there's going to be over 100 things to do every city, every single time. There's something for everybody. That's the idea.
Wow. That's really cool. That's very cool. And then so let's start expansion of this app.
We're going worldwide, baby.
Yeah, but step 1, right? Yeah. So test proof of concept. That's it. app is launching. Do you guys have a date or like sometime next month?
End of June before Summer of Sound's the goal. Yeah,
Okay.
we want to launch it and have a we'll launch it and have a party. But we want to have a presence at Summer of Sound
Nice.
as well.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then what are you looking for when the app launches to be like, okay, this is what we're hoping for. This is what we're hoping for people to sign up. We're hoping for blah, blah, blah. And
I mean, we have our targets.
And getting that proof of concept of like, okay, this is going to work.
Yeah.
Because until now, there's ideas, you pass it through a couple people, but until you actually press launch on that
100%.
app,
100%.
everything's
in
up for
concept,
grabs.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
In theory, great.
Sure.
But have we created the product to execute
match
this
it, yeah.
idea?
Mhm.
Right? We don't know until we try. From what I see so far, I'll send it to you guys after you see the prototype. It looks very good. Excuse me. Looks very good.
Sure.
But what we need is once you get in the hands of 500 people, they're going to give you feedback. They're going to try it. This is lagging. This is great. We love this. Can you change this? There's going to be a lot of user feedback that we have to listen to kind of adapt the idea, right?
Right.
It's going to evolve
Yeah,
nonstop, you know.
Yeah.
And again, it's just for us. Just because I like it doesn't mean that the next person's going to like it. It doesn't matter what I like. Let's just see what the other 500 people think. And then from there, if they enjoy it, then you'll hopefully get to 5,000, right?
Mhm. What's your day-to-day going to look like for the app?
I don't know. I've never been in the space, so I don't know what it looks like, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm excited for the unknown almost, but I also know that it doesn't mean that there's never-ending list of things to do with it. You know,
Right.
like you got to think like we're always getting user feedback. We have a backlog of different upgrades that we want to do with it. You know, the different ideas. You know, to obviously like add new features, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where are we going to expand to? But don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I know where I want to go. I know what cities I want to expand to. Then go to the U.S. Then to obviously Europe, and then Australia, and everything else. But Winnipeg. How do we get it? Because if it works here,
Yeah,
it'll work
anywhere.
It's
Yeah,
the best
exactly.
test
and this applies to many things. Like
I've heard that.
in any city. Like,
Oh, yeah.
but if the idea, if we can get it to, I'm not worried about getting 10,000 people across Canada. I want 10,000 people in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
Right.
facts.
Because if I can get 10,000 people here to enjoy it, there's no reason why Saskatoon, Ottawa, Edmonton, Toronto aren't gonna. It's not going to work.
Yep.
No reason why. Right? People and numbers. Right?
I've heard that. Yeah, if you can make it in Winnipeg, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah,
I've
we've
heard
always
that.
been a
I've
test
heard
market anyway, so it's
I've
great.
heard that.
And because the model's been there, Skip the Dishes has already done it.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. They've launched in Winnipeg. They were in Saskatoon first, came to Regina, came here. This blew them up, and they scaled around the world.
Yeah.
Right? So it's awesome, right? So the model's there. The people are here. This is my home base. It's in full circle. Everything's here. Everything's culminating to this moment.
What does it feel like to reflect and realize that all the struggles that you went through, all the failures, and all your successes have led to this moment, and now you're ready to fully launch it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a great feeling. It's exciting, but also, you know, job's not done. You know, you know, we're just scratching the surface here, right? So
Yeah.
we haven't even launched yet. So we have a great idea. We have a great team, great marketing plan, great city to launch in, all the right tools. Now we got to execute. You know, so it's my job to like try to be focused, right? Go through, get things done. That's the goal, right?
Best case scenario, Hostly does well. You get people coming in, users using the app. Are you done with everything else, Stephen?
I am done with everything else. Yeah.
So what does that mean?
It means that I will still do Summer of Sound here.
Okay.
I will still, and I'll tell you the truth. If this thing takes off, I stand by that statement.
Sure.
If you love me when I'm broke,
Yeah.
you're gonna really fucking love me. If I come back and launch and this thing takes off, Winnipeg's gonna have the craziest events it's ever seen, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, without a doubt, I promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and here's the thing. I have a grand vision for even like the exchange, for example. I wanna, now that I realize that there's a platform for me to speak on certain things, I wanna, let's say, call out the city, call out the province, but it's like, you know, young people, everyone says all the time on their platforms, we want more things to do in Winnipeg. We believe in downtown. We want young people to stay here. What are you doing about it? You know, what has anyone ever done about it? I don't know. I've invested millions of dollars in the exchange. I believe in the exchange.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I believe in it because I've shown it, right? You said it, but you haven't done anything about it, right? So I believe that we should be, for 2-3 months of the year, just all walking only, bikes and walking only in the exchange. Shut everything down, like Louis Blanche. You know?
Talking to the right people.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm gonna make some noise. This is a whole different topic.
Blew up for MLA.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. But I mean, like, imagine like you have more lounges, more coffee shops, and ice cream shops, bubble tea place, all in the exchange. You know, we're at a tipping point right now in the exchange that if a few more places shut down, everything's gonna shut down.
Right.
You know, you lose the King's Head, you lose Amsterdam Tea Room, you lose Peasant Cookery, you lose Rosé, you lose Commonwealth. There's not that many here, right? And then we're not all booming businesses. We're doing okay, but we're all entrepreneurs and we're grinding it out. But you lose us. There's not a rush of people trying to get in right now. So you need to build that momentum. Winnipeg is lacking that one area for everyone to go out. When you go to any city, you're like, oh, where do you go? Of course, we go here. Go to this strip, this area. I went to Austin, they knew where to take me. I went to Halifax, they knew where to take me. You go to Winnipeg, you're like, we're all over the place. The city needs to have some focus, a plan, and some money invested, support entrepreneurs, and turn the exchange into something really, really exciting. And it can be done, but if no one has the balls to do it, nobody has the balls.
Is it the way that the city's set up though, from an infrastructure standpoint?
Nobody cares enough. Nobody cares enough.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a statement.
So how do you change it?
You need someone with a plan, and then have funding and push it through, and a long-term plan. What's the 10-year plan for the exchange? Right. I have this craziest vision. I'm telling you right now that I can map it up. I'm going to map it out. This will be before our next podcast together. I will be online already, calling everybody out on this already. I will be, because now that I'm here again, I'm also discussing another lounge right now with somebody that I'm trying not to do it myself, but helping another lounge get off the ground, right? To help improve the exchange. You know, this strip is called Bankers Row. The Millennium Bank, Bank of Montreal, Palomino, this was a bank, Diablo was a bank. You used to have Bankers Row. How sexy would it be, like, you come to Winnipeg, like, where do you want to go out? You got to go Bankers Row. That's where all the action is.
Wait, is that why you call this place Commonwealth?
No, what?
Is that why you call this place Commonwealth?
Why is that?
Is that like the wealth aspect?
No, that's all. Commonwealth is because Republic was my first club.
Okay.
Many republics makes a Commonwealth.
Oh.
So all my businesses together is a Commonwealth.
Right.
So this is the Commonwealth. That's where that name came about.
Got it.
I had this name for like 13 years. When I had all my nightclubs, I'm like, 5 nightclubs, Commonwealth is the and then they all lost money. They have no Commonwealth. The empire crumbled. That was it. It was nothing, just rubble left. That's it.
Common broke.
Yeah. So now the idea is I want to promote Bankers Row, the exchange. It's cool. You know what I mean? But again, I don't have the energy for this. You know, I'm trying to build apps now. You know, but here's the thing: if this thing takes off, I'll invest money back in. But the city should be doing it.
Yeah.
You know, there should be people behind making this happen. Why is it taking one guy like me to do this? The city should be, hey, you believe in downtown, you believe in what keeps young people here. You know what keeps them here? Jobs and things to do. We're not that complicating. I'm not young anymore, but you know, that's the idea, right? Because that's what they want. I want a place to work and I want a place to go out and do some fun stuff. Yeah. That's it. It's not that complicating. MLA.
Let's go. Who up for MLA? Let's run it. Who up for MLA?
Who up for mayor 2028?
Bob Canute.
Here we go.
What are your last couple questions? What do you think about the space of entrepreneurship in Winnipeg right now? Like, is the world still like, okay, let's make it in Winnipeg and I'm leaving?
That's the problem.
Is that what's going on right now?
Here's the thing. A lot of people, not even like I'm going to make money, I'm leaving. Just I'm leaving. I think Winnipeg is a great place to try to make money. I do believe that it is a easier barrier to entry, but if you're in a bigger market, your dollars just go further. You know, it's funny. You go to another city and you eat a restaurant. It's not that good. Like, how's this restaurant stay alive? You know what I mean? You wonder. But there's 5 million people that tourists come in and eat all the time. That I ate there, I didn't go back. But next day, there's nonstop. There's traffic, right? We don't have tourism traffic here. You know. We don't have a lot of money flying into the city to spend. Whereas it hurts me every time I see my friends be like, oh, I spent $5,000 on bottle service in Toronto. They come back like $250 for a bottle in Winnipeg. This is crazy. I'm like, oh my God. But that's the mentality, right? Yeah. We're happy to spend the money when we're in Vegas, but when we're in Winnipeg, we don't want to spend it. Where else? That's what was cool about COVID. No one could leave. Everyone was spending money here. It was amazing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was nice to see, but that only lasted 1 year.
Yeah, that's true.
I was on a phone call with someone with Canadian music this year and talking about grants. And she said, I'm like, listen, so here's my situation. I'm a promoter in Winnipeg. We've lost money 2 years in a row. We're looking for funding. She's like, yeah, you know, honestly, there is no funding for your category. You're a for-profit company. I'm like, I'm a for-profit company not making a profit. I'm worse. I'm like less than a non-profit. We should be getting the most money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we don't get any money. And I'm like, she's like, because you're for-profit, there's no money. Also, you don't bring enough. You need to get 500 hotel rooms booked for your festival. I'm like, 500 hotel rooms. I'm like, listen, we've been around for 11 years. We have 17,000 people on our email list. Probably 25,000 plus people have circulated through the event over the past years. There's a loyal following for it. The people love it. If there is no money for something like us, where's the money going?
Where are you going to put it?
Where are you going to put it? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's weird. It's like, well, we have these. I had this grant. We applied for a grant for Commonwealth where we were building, right? They said, I'm doing a parking lot party in the right next door. Like, oh, we're doing a downtown grant. It's great, no problem. Oh, but by the way, you're not downtown. You're part of the exchange. I'm like, so we don't have money for you. Okay, so that's what we deal with. Like you there's money to give, but because you're on this line, you don't get this funding. And you look around. I want you to tell me where this money's going. Where is the money going? Random events, community events, adults come and go. I've been here investing money, investing time, investing my blood, sweat, and tears of my family, my friends, and we cannot find funding from the province, from the city, for the renovation here, for the festivals. Nothing. Right. Not $1. That is a crime.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a crime. And I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna make a video about this, specifically about this. You can clearly, you guys touch the nerve here, but I'm bringing this up. I was already gonna make a video just about this topic alone. Yeah. It needs to go viral. People need to see, and then from then you're like, okay, well, you're right. We need to be able to make exceptions. There has to be exceptions for certain people that are doing certain things, and you guys use your own discretion. You know, I'm not saying that I should get it for sure. I'm sure there's another guy just like me that maybe deserves it too. Maybe give it to him, but at least someone's getting it. They can't be so black and white to be like, well, no, sorry, because you're not a nonprofit. Well, look, we haven't made money. We're investing money. We're investing in $500,000 to $1 million every year to the city. We haven't made any money. Now we're losing money. We're at the risk of shutting down. Well, is there anything for us? I'm really sorry, there isn't. Yeah, that's sad. You don't fit in this pegs, the exact thing. Or these guys getting it. Like, who's getting it? I want to know who's getting it. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's like,
you're a podcast and you got funding, please.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But it's like, they have to recognize, like, listen, there needs to be just like a unique funding for like what is standing out. Folk Fest at one point needed money. Now they don't. But they're still getting funding. But they're a monster that doesn't even fully need it. But I'm sure that they need it. But they're established, right? There's ones that are pick and choose, like have a council, a board of someone to like make some of the decisions. You know what? Give this podcast $10,000 a year because they're making an impact. They're interviewing, helping tourism, bringing Winnipeg a spotlight to Winnipeg. These are value that people don't see. You guys are showcasing Winnipeg to the world with this platform that they wouldn't have before. The city can't kick in some money for that. The province can't kick in some money for that. There has to be.
I think they just got to fix Bishop Grandin a couple times, or Abenoji Mika a couple times. That's what
that's where the funding. I mean, that's where the funding goes. I don't know, right? I mean, I just think that it's frustrating when you're like putting out money. It's different if it's like I got no money, I've invested no money. I want $100,000. Okay,
sure.
You know what I mean? But hey, listen, here's our financials. We've lost money, 6 figures back to back. We're limping along in this race right now. You know what I mean? We're a wounded animal trying to make it to the finish line. Can you throw me a bone? No, sorry, doesn't fit. And it's like, how is there not? You know what I mean?
I think there has to be a lot of change that the city definitely needs. I mean, there's a lot of change coming from a political standpoint, but also like I think there is a lack of voice for that generation and the business ownership that ultimately it comes down to politics at the end of the day.
And that's why you're right, yeah.
And that's why it's Stephen Hua.
I will back you guys. You guys go, I'll back you. But I do think that, again, I think that the podcast, making the video, posting something online, and calling people out. Yeah. I say all the time, like every single mayor's platform, invest in the youth. What can we do to keep jobs in Winnipeg? Oh, downtown, we support downtown. All these things, raw, every single person over and over. Then they win. What has been changed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, cool, we fixed the park. I've heard rumors they're gonna fix the park and renovate the park. But you have to, the park is then being not because it's not ugly. You have to invest in the promoters to do something there. We have to want to put money out and fund it to do some cool stuff. I have a full plan for the exchange, like a full plan, top to bottom. Every area, like freaking all the things you can do. Programming, music, renovate everything, patios. There should be 20 patios outside in the exchange.
Yeah.
20 of them, literally. Every parking lot's a patio, every sidewalk is a patio, every single one.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy? No, make it happen. Yeah. What is it? That's the vision. What is it gonna take to get there? Make the plan and do it. It's not that hard. It really isn't, because someone has to care to do it though. Yeah. Right? And you can't have it, it's on the backs of guys like me and other pro owners, Rose and all these guys in Amsterdam. They're risking their money. They build the patio. They got to fight for permanent. They got to fight all these hurdles. And then it's like, it's not busy enough because no one's helping them out. They need support, right? You need the density. You need the network effect. If there was 20 patios here, everyone in Winnipeg would be in downtown.
100%.
Just devil's avocado here. What if the city's doing like spending money for like hospitals or schools, and like they'd rather put the money towards that rather than a nightlife in Winnipeg, right? They're like, oh, there's things to do.
Yeah, no.
There are things to
True
do,
enough.
right?
So then say that then. Fuck downtown, right?
Transparency.
Transparency.
Okay.
Tell me, you know what? For the next 20 years, you guys are screwed. There is no money for entertainment. We don't care. There's nothing for you guys to do. Downtown's going to become a shithole. All good, because we have no money and it goes to a hospital. Tell me that, and I respect that.
Okay.
But if you tell me that we love downtown, we invest in it, we believe in it, we want to make it happen, we believe in the youth, vote for me because I'm going to change, I'm going to make it a fun place for people to live. If I ran for mayor and I said I'm going to make it a fun place to live, people will believe me because I'm going to try to make it happen. But then maybe my hands are tied. I don't know. Maybe they can say it, but they can't do it. I don't know. Maybe the intent's there, right? But at the end of the day is too much talking. Here's the thing. Every politician I've ever met, they've loved the things I'm saying. But it doesn't mean that they're going to put the money behind it, right? At the end of the day, we don't know. They believe it makes sense. But here's the thing. You want to get the votes of everyone from 18 to 30? Give us something fun to do. Give them something fun to do. Show them that you're putting the money out to do something. I just find like a lot of the money is just used in ways that is not necessary. Again, obviously nonprofits deserve money. Obviously cultural events deserve money. But obviously for-profit promoters also deserve money too,
It comes down to the idea that a bunch of people pitched you an idea on Commonwealth, and you're like, I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
You might have to do it yourself.
I know.
Steven.
Like I said,
you might have to do it yourself, Steven.
I actually believe
you gotta do it.
No, but I will do it, and I will spearhead it. But I want the city and the province to believe in it and step up as well, because I know they want to make it happen. I'll tell you the truth. Maybe what's lacking is someone to give them the plan and show them what can be done. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what's lacking. We don't know. I don't know, right? But it's just like I feel like no one cares enough to want to do it, right? It's not important enough right now.
Or they just don't care as much as you do.
100%. Of course, that's for sure. There's so many things to worry about. I understand. Believe me, I'm not underestimating the amount of work it takes to run a fucking city, and run a province. But if you're gonna say something about it, let's believe it. And believe me, the people will stay. You want the young people, the young professionals to stay in the city, young entrepreneurs. They want stuff to do, and that's the main thing, places to go. They want to feel safe. They want fun things to do. That's it. Cops all around every corner, patios everywhere, music and DJs in 20 venues downtown. The entire city would change. The entire city would completely change. In 5 years, we'd make it happen.
Steven,
let's go.
From the last time you were on the show, we always end our episodes with one question. And we're going to do it the same way, in old fashioned.
Okay.
Any advice you can give to our listeners from the failures to the successes, to opening up a new restaurant, launching a new app? What do you have to say?
I feel like I've said so many things, I don't even know where to start to recap some of the stuff, right? I mean, like, I always say, try. I think that's the one thing I always tell people is like, always keep a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Okay? And try. It doesn't never hurt to try. Fail small. Fail often, fail small, like I said, and always just try. And if you can't try, at least learn. If you don't want to try or learn, support. Yeah. We can all be a part of something better and bigger if we're contributing in any way that we can. Not everyone's gonna drop $1 million on a festival. Not everyone's gonna open up a Commonwealth. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And not everyone should be doing it. It's not for everybody. But speak. It's crazy. The people that are the loudest are the people that hate everything. The people that love need to speak up a lot more. Just that positivity alone would go a long way. You'd be surprised, like positive words and support for any person. We all remember those times where you've had a guy give you a compliment in the right time or the right moment to turn your day around, right? Those little things matter. Support matters. Coming out and doing the things you love, and maybe you don't love that band or that DJ, but support that genre, support that promoter, support that venue, so you can get more of it. It's just the simplest little things. You know what I mean? And I think that the world just needs more of that in general.
More just needs spread love.
More positivity, more love, 100%. And like I said,
Thank you so much for a third episode. Hosting
Thank
us
you for having
at your
me.
place.
Sorry for my long rant there.
No, it's totally welcome.
It's just water. It's just water.
Yeah. The vodka's all kicking in now.
Sparkling
It
water.
just started kicking in. He's actually switched it
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on.
It's
once
my
again.
pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And I'm excited to see where things go for you. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Hua. Peace.
Peace. Let's go.